sir or non-binary person, would you like to enjoy some making love with me? And then if they answer yes, then you mount that person and you move back and forth politely, and then you kind of finish it up and you say that was great, and then you never mention it again. That's the right way to have sex, okay?
And folks, and that's why we don't do any sort of sex advice or sex stuff on this show, because there's none to be given.
I am wise.
I want you to write the polite sex book, like the proper polite method.
I just said it.
You know, you probably hear people constantly talking about this horrible thing called capitalism.
I have.
Yeah, you've heard that?
Yes.
You're like, what? How does capitalism affect me? I will tell you, it runs your entire fucking life. You've probably heard of socialism or communism. Communism! And they say they try to control your entire life. Your whole day is taken away from you. What control do you have over your day now?
Most people have to be chained to a desk for 40 hours a week, and they're not allowed to leave.
When you wake up in the morning and you feel like shit and you have to wipe the sleep from your eyes and like look around and be like, why does this have to happen this early in the morning? That's a capitalism.
And it controls everything, like your healthcare, your education. It all comes down to making money, but some things just don't make money. Honestly, ask yourself, how afraid are you of getting an injury and how that could possibly fuck up your life?
Yeah. You're being stopped from skateboarding, breakdancing, doing anything fun, because if you get injured, you're fucked forever. You can't go to work.
And so then you have all these people that say, well, we can make a kinder capitalism, a more conscious capitalism. It isn't gonna fucking happen. We need anarchy, we need socialism, we need communism, we need anything but more capitalism.
But wait, Brett. When you go to the grocery store, you have almost unlimited choice. You can buy 100 different types of cereals.
All made from the same stuff with different graphics on the outside.
All corn. It's basically just a bunch of boxes of corn.
That's capitalism.
It actually treats about 1% of the population like humans, and the rest of us like tools for those superhumans. You don't have any money, your bank account's low? I know where the money is. Jeff Bezos has it, the Waltons have it.
And they took it from us, right?
They took it from us.
We're just getting our money back.
Yeah, your work made that money. You deserve that money. That's your money. The 1% has never decided to do the right thing. That's why we have to take power and just spread it out among the 100% of people that exist.
Before we commence expelling this ghost from this location, before we save Jake from the lock, I will light the ceremonial herb that will give us the sight, that will give us the power we need to set Jake free. My Twitter's not working out here. Let's see if you can get a ghost. Go ahead and try. See.
I summon thee, ghost, into ghostly ghostness. Come the fuck out if you're a real ghost. Now. Demand it. This is how we fucking hunt ghosts. And as we've pointed out, and as we've said, there are no ghosts.
So this is where the ghost lives, from what we know. And he's not home. Let me see, let me try this. Jake, you may overtake my body. I accept you into my heart and soul. Please, if you are here, take control of me. Use me as a vessel.
Gross.
Nothing.
Yeah, no ghosts. So I guess the lesson of Beaver Creek is there's no such thing as ghosts, there's no God, and the Bible is a lie. Off to Helltown to find out what the government's up to in the middle of fucking nowhere, Ohio. Hell yeah, bumping out here. Can I get some of this safety herb in my lungs, please? And thank you, are welcome here. Jake, you can't have any because they drug test.
Yeah, if you go to work, man, you're going to get drug tested.
a bitch. You get out here. Hey, Jay! Ain't coming. He ain't coming because he's afraid of me, Brian Quinby from Street Fight Radio. Brett, would you like a shot at Jake?
Yeah.
Oh, I just fell in a hole. That was Jake. That was all Jake. I think we found the ghost.
Jake won't let you see your mentions. He's like, don't look at your phone while you're at work, motherfucker.
How many times have you gone into work and then looked at your boss and said, what are they doing? You ever think about the levels at a job, Brett? Of course, the people on the very bottom. What do they do?
Usually clean.
Yeah, and then there is the people just above them. They're the ones that do the second hardest job at the place, right?
Deal with customers?
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then there's another level above that, and that's the manager that's in the place. Now let's think about what comes after that, right? You might have a guy named like Glenn that comes to your office every 6 months, and you have to lay out the red carpet for Glenn. Think about what the person above Glenn does. Jerry is the person above Glenn, right?
Okay.
His job is basically going to lunch, right?
Yeah, powerful meetings,
Yeah.
shaking hands real hard.
We're gonna go up to the CEO now. The people that sit around a table and who knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they talk about.
Playing cards.
What connection does that person have to what you do and what the customer gets? It just seems like you could really chop like 5 or 6 levels off of any job and the company would still run perfectly.
Think about your job. Now imagine your manager isn't there. How much smoother would your day run?
I mean, how many of you work a job where you don't even know who the fucking CEO is of the company? That means they're absolutely useless. They're parasites.
They're on the top, getting most of the money, sending their kids to private school, driving the fanciest cars, and they can't make a sandwich. Every new level of hierarchy is more money coming out of your paycheck. Unions are fucking great because it's not HR.
You need solidarity with the other workers. We need to use that and exercise that. You and your other workers are the most important people at that company. I mean, hell, the way I think about it, maybe you don't get a union at all and you just take the whole company away from the bosses, and that's called a co-op.
For the almighty dollar, everyone's a slave. Cause what's the point of doing shit if you ain't getting paid?
Can you imagine being that sensitive? Like you,
Well, that's
like
what
that
they're
is the
PC as hell.
ultimate.
Hey, you know what? This is the freest goddamn country, and it's so free that if you don't stand up, you aren't a free person. And goddamn it, boy, if you don't stand up right now, you ain't free. Because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, I have the freedom to make you feel bad for doing the freedom. Just get up and say you love it. Just get up right now, Copernic. God damn it. It's so free that you can't do it. You have to. It's free because there's only one way to be. That's why it's free. So be that. Damn you. They don't have anything to live. I mean, their kids hate them. They don't have, all their money got stolen by banksters and shit. Healthcare's running through the fucking roof.
Oh my God, have you heard the news? Kids are dying of Kratom.
That's not true.
They're injecting it into their veins.
I don't think that's happening.
An ABC Action News exclusive. A mom says a popular herb killed her son.
The most recent death happened in early June. Kratom, also known as metrogenine, was one of 4 drugs blamed for his death.
This was like the devil's drug.
It really is just a green powder that makes people feel better.
Yeah, it's a leaf. It grows from the ground, you smash it up, you make a tea out of it, you throw it down the back of your throat, you eat some capsules, and you feel better, your mind's clear. And most people that use Kratom don't have access to healthcare or prescriptions or any of that regular medicine stuff. They get it from local stores or online.
Let's do an example here. You're a young person, you don't understand how all this works, so let me explain this to you. When you get hurt in your older age, let's say you're 34, you work on a roof, you fall off, and you crush your fucking heel, right? It's all shattered. The doctor 10, 15 years ago was like, that's fucked up, that really hurts. You're gonna need some opioids to kill that pain. And then the DEA says, no, you can't have those anymore. These doctors have to tighten up their prescriptions. And now you don't have any. You can't afford them. What do? You can take Kratom. It has the same effects. It's less.
Hey everybody, welcome to Street Fight Radio. Sunday night, time for a street fight. We're taking the calls. As always, that number to dial is 614-655-3887. We're going to be here for the next 3 hours looking for stories about small business tyrants, dare officers, anything you like, really. We want to hear from you. You always have interesting stuff to share and questions to ask us. We're open for anything. It's Street Fight Radio call-in show. And we're going to have an ABCD show coming up soon. Anyone but cis dude show, I think in early October. I haven't picked the exact Sunday yet, but it's going to happen then. We are the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. We do it out of Columbus, Ohio, and you can hear us on WCRS, the best community radio that there is, from what I've seen. You can find them on 98.3 or 92.7 if you're inside 270 here in Columbus, Ohio. So, with that being said,
Bonus content that's out. We just dropped the new episode of 100 Million Tons of Steel, our heavy metal podcast. We talked to Jess Skolnick, the lead singer of Daddy's Boy, and the senior editor at Bandcamp about their favorite types of metal. So give that one a listen. We also watched The Food That Made America, and that's on the way soon. So lots of stuff to see on patreon.com/streetfightradio. And that's how you support the show, so we can get bigger and better to spread this mess across the U.S. Subscribe on Patreon. We got Shocktober 2 coming in like 2 weeks.
Some version of it.
Yeah.
We're coming. Something's coming. We'll see. How you doing?
Great.
I'm tired. Abilify, my new drug that I'm on, I think has got me got my brain messed a
You don't
little.
feel abilified?
I don't feel like I have abilities right now.
Oh no.
No, I'm just really tired. I'm not usually this tired this early. I drank some coffee before I came here. My eyes are kind of heavy and just kind of down, but also was that way before this. So, maybe the Abilify is going to make it better. You know what I mean? That's what they're shooting for. They, asked me how I was feeling. I said, not great. And they said, here, try this. And, just waiting for my body to get used to it or whatever. So I'm tired as fuck though, man. I am so tired. For a guy that goes to bed when he wants and gets up when he wants, I feel real tired right now.
Yeah, I spent some time in the sun today for the first time in a while. And I forgot how much that fucking just drains you.
Yeah.
When I got home, I slept for about an hour.
Yeah, I was out all day, but
I felt great.
I was out all day. It was I don't know. I fell down today, which is always just humiliating when there's cars driving by, which just like I was walking, and sometimes I have this thing where I roll my ankle and almost go down, which is humiliating in itself and is not a product of like a weekend. Like there isn't a thing in your body that makes you roll your ankle and almost fall down. It just happens to people sometimes, but I'm always humiliated by it. It's like being humiliated about having to go to the bathroom, And today I like went to roll my what?
It's humiliating to use the bathroom?
Yeah. I find it to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we never told that story on the podcast though, about when I was on my way to your party.
Oh no, we didn't.
Your Kentucky Derby party. Yeah. When we party at Brett's house, I walk over.
Oh God.
When we party at Brett's house, I walk over if it's during the day because you don't have to be here till like 2 or 3. I get a nice little walk in and I meet my family here, and it works out. It gives me the confidence to party for the rest of the day. So I'm walking over here and I gotta go to the bathroom real bad. I am talking twosies, and I'm talking where at a spot in the city, not a lot around where you can go to, right?
Not a lot of public restrooms.
No, because most places aren't letting you use them anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even if there were 5 places, because there are little stores and shit, but like, they ain't gonna let you do it, And plus, I would never walk into like a boutique and say, look, I'm having an emergency, and then doing what I have to do there would be, they would probably fucking call the police on me.
Yeah, for doing a crime?
Yeah, they'd have to call the plumber when it's over and everything. So like, I was like, okay, here's the plan. I'm about a quarter mile from a Target. And go in this Target, they got powerful toilets there, so that's not even a problem.
You can crack the bowl if you have to.
Yeah, you can go nuts at a Target, man. And so I finally get to this Target, and I sit down.
It's rushing out of you, like
it's crazy.
You're like holding you're like using your thumb and forefinger to squeeze your butt cheeks together as you're getting in.
They call it stiff legging. I was stiff leg walking.
Okay.
Just like I didn't want to like bend my knees because it was going to be a problem.
Sure.
And my stomach was just, it was like making noise, and it was just like, and my stomach had been hurting for a couple days too.
Okay.
And I didn't, my stomach hurts half the time, so I didn't know what to do. But like I took my medicine or whatever, and things started to feel better. I got things moving again,
And I get to this fucking Target and I go to the bathroom. There's nobody in the fucking bathroom. But while I'm there, a guy comes in and gets in the toilet next to me.
Uh-huh.
And he's making fun of my shit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's like making comments about me. While I'm using the bathroom, he's like, "Woo, you got it! Wow, what's going on over there, man?
God,
this is wow. This place smell." And, you know, he was like really going, and I was just silent. I was like, I don't want to say anything. And then like, so I just kind of stayed there until he left because I didn't like want the guy to see that I was the guy that came out of the thing, even though I fucking look like the type of guy who could do that. You know what I mean?
He would have told everybody.
Oh, I know.
Oh, he just put on a show in there.
It was loud too. It was like also loud. It was just like, I was so embarrassed, dude. I just was like, dude, you don't have.
That's fucking wild.
I wanted to do like a heart to heart with the guy through the wall in the stall. Like, dude, you don't have to make a big deal out of it, man.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But then it's like I
have a heart.
Yeah, I also have a voice that some people can recognize. Now, I don't think I'm famous, and I don't think that a lot of people in town know who I am. But a few hundred people in town know who I am. So I also don't want to be sitting on the toilet and talking and then have somebody be like, "Oh, I know that voice." You know, it's just, I'm not going to talk. And plus, again, if I go to the bathroom to pee and somebody's like dropping bombs in the bathroom, like, I like to get out before they get out because I don't want to embarrass them by seeing them come out of the stall. Like, I try to hurry up as a courtesy. So it was wild because there was a guy peeing and then a guy on the other side of me, you know, in the handicap stall, like going at it. And they were fucking commenting over my head, over my stall about me using the bathroom.
More than one person?
Yeah, it was two people in the bathroom having a fucking... It ended up like being a roast because they were making fun of one guy. I don't know if they knew each other or something, but it was just like, that was humiliating. And they never saw me, so nobody knows who I was or anything. So, you know, for the listeners, I'm safe. That's on that front. Nobody saw me. Nobody knows that it was me. Nobody knows who was in there doing that, you know?
Yeah.
But oh my God, that's why when I say humiliating, it's like when I roll my ankle, that's humiliating to me. It looks like you're falling, and you know, because I do it. When somebody does it in front of me, I'm like, you know, it's bully instincts from way back in time. When you grow up a dude like I was, at least, when somebody gets hurt, your first instinct is to laugh at them until you find out that they're like actually really hurt. And, you know, Jason here has a scar on his eyebrow because one day we were at the elementary school fucking around being, you know, idiots, and he had a metal baseball bat and he whacked the pole on the side of the backstop on a baseball diamond.
Yeah.
And the bat bounced back and hit him right above the eye. You can still see the scar above his eyebrow, hit him right above the eye. And I never laughed as hard as when I saw that bat hit him in the head and him go down, and then he had to go to the hospital and get like 9 stitches. And I was like, well, that wasn't as funny as previous.
Yeah.
But it was so funny in the moment. And today I was just walking and my ankle must have rolled, but I was also standing next to like a dip in the ground that was probably 2 inches. And I just fell straight down, just straight down. A car's driving by and Katie was like, you know, did the car stop? And I was like, you know what? Fucking no, it didn't. Rude. But then I realized about 2 weeks ago, I was on this show and I was saying, like, if somebody gets hurt, I'm not stopping. You know, I would never stop. If I saw somebody fall down, I would never stop and say something. So I kind of deserved that. But yeah, I went down today on a rolled ankle. I'm okay now, you know.
Do you like drag your feet when you walk?
No, I don't know what it is, man. It just sometimes my ankle will like give out and go down to the side, you know?
Yeah.
You'll just be down on your side and you almost fall. I don't even know why it happens or what it does, but it just happens sometimes. It's always happened. I always just assumed it happened to everybody. Sometimes your ankle will just go,
give out on you, you know?
Yeah.
So I took a fall today. I took a nice spill today while I was out. But then, other than that, very normal day, you know? Other than I'm really tired, you know? Like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, that turlet story is one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. Yeah. That was maybe one of my top humiliating moments. It reminds me of when I was in the 7th grade and I raised my hand in class and the teacher called on me and said, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "It's a poop." Because I didn't think you were allowed to do that in school. And she was like, "I don't care what you're doing," and gave me the pass, and I left. But like everybody thought it was like really funny that I asked if I could do it. That was another big, like, I just have so much weird, I don't like to fart. I don't like any of that stuff. Like, I couldn't have been a shock jock because
can't handle it.
If I'm in a room full of, and I'm in this room with Jason and Brett who bust farts like crazy, man, but I try not to. I'm like, I'll wait till I leave. I'm gonna wait till I leave. Farter.
Yeah, that's nice. That's polite.
My parents would get so mad at Jason when he would do it that they would sometimes tell him to go to the bathroom. Hey, go to the damn bathroom when you're gonna do that. Yeah. And it's just like, that probably also creates some kind of weirdness about that kind of thing, you know? Because we would giggle our heads off as kids, you know?
Yeah.
When somebody cuts a gasser.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I have an idea. I was talking to somebody, and I want to know if the callers, just real quick, if you have any like extra money making stuff. Because I know people, right? Someone started a thing in the Street Fighters group about like how to make an extra couple bucks right now. But I was talking to a friend of mine who said that their wife is a big plant nut and like follows all the stuff on Instagram and Reddit and all that. And they go to like Myers and Menards and like places that don't normally sell plants, wait for them to go on clearance, and then sell them on Facebook Marketplace. So they'll buy like a fiddle leaf fig for $20 and then put it on Facebook Marketplace for $45, and people will just come buy it.
Yeah, Katie's been selling a lot of shit. So we got that smoothie blender that I talked about last week on the show. And so we had a blender and a food processor that were junk. They were pure fucking junk. I mean, one of these the blender was one a guy gave me for free off of, I think, Craigslist. I just was like, it said free blender. I was like, put it on your porch, I'll go and grab it, you know?
Yeah.
And the food processor was one of those crummy things you get from the work points, you know, and they're like, you get 20,000 points in this shitty catalog full of shitty stuff. And we had those, and I was making room for the new blender in a cabinet we had, and I took the food processor out and the blender out, and I went to throw them in the garbage.
Right.
Which is that's my fucking like way of solving problems, is like, oh, there's no room for something, well, let's throw some stuff away then. And she was like, whoa, I can sell these. Got $23 out of them. Great. And they were pure fucking junk, dude. I don't know why somebody would have paid $15 for that blender. Just pure, it was chrome. It had like a chrome look to it. You take a picture of something that's no, it's not. Yeah, exactly. They made it to look like a very nice thing. But $23 isn't bad, really, for some junk I was about to throw in the trash.
I love $23.
Yeah, she just, if I say I don't want something, man, it's like, if I say I don't want something, it's like, I'll put it on Marketplace, and then it sells. Yeah. It just sells. People like buying shit, I guess. And I think like it's also the like, you can't roam. Well, you can, but people aren't roaming around stores as much. So there's something to like just sitting on your couch, scrolling through this feed of just this unending feed of people's junk keeps coming up, and you're like, oh, that's a good, like, it's good deals. You feel like you're getting a good deal because you're buying somebody's junk that they don't care about, and they're just charging like a small amount of money because they're like, oh, wouldn't it be a gag if we got $10 for this? You know?
Yeah. And, for things like the houseplants, people that normally go to like a nursery or something and play full price have, it's no difference to them. They're not on Target.com looking for houseplants,
No, but they probably think they're getting a fucking deal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I should learn how to do all that stuff. It seems like you can really make good money just selling shit in your house.
Yeah, I give up free time.
But I mean, not really though, because like Katie doesn't. I mean, the way that she uses Marketplace, I think, is wild because she does actually spend a lot of time driving to different parts of the city to pick some stuff up. But when she's selling stuff, it's just throw it out on the porch. You don't have to really do anything. You just have to answer your messages every now and then, you know?
Yeah.
But that is a good way to make money. I mean, if you don't have anything to sell, obviously, it's not good. But, man, if you can figure out a way to get some stuff on Marketplace, you can get $20-$30 here and there, you know? I saw somebody today driving a fucking BMW to do Grubhub. And I was just like, we are just in a world of fucking shit right now.
I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, a lot of my Instacart people are like Lexus SUVs. And it's like, just downgrade. Just downgrade your fucking life.
It's not their fault, though. They were like living.
Sure.
They're in a lease or a payment schedule that they were in when they were fucking making good money.
Right, of course.
And it's it's like when you see a person doing Instacart or Grubhub or Uber Eats or something in a Benz or something like that, and you're just like, man, this shouldn't be happening. You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
But what are you going to do, man? I guess we got to touch on, before we get to the phones, the Supreme Court thing, which was...
Do we?
I mean, I feel like that's something people want to hear about.
Who are you? Winston Churchill?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I was like Tom Brokaw. There you go.
No, I'm not Tom Brokaw. I'm just saying, like, people feel a lot of despair about it.
Oh, really?
And I want to say that I feel the same amount of despair I felt before this happened. Don't think it's... I mean, obviously, there's a lot to worry about, but, like... you gotta let these things fucking play out, and see what happens. But it is very fun. It's not fun at all, but it is like, I've gotten a little bit of like watching, if you Google like honor and dignity and stuff like that, and you see the Democrat people being like, Sir Mitch McConnell, Senator, how dare you go back on your word? You know what I mean? Because I guess it was like, when Obama went to nominate a guy, they were like, you shouldn't nominate somebody in an election year. And then this time now they're like, oh, we got to nominate somebody. So I think we're kind of fucked, but what are you going to do? I mean, obviously these things are either going to get real bad or we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, this stuff is so far out of our fucking control, like, especially the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, since I've been doing this show, has always been something that's really it's really been something that's bothered me because it feels like something that's totally out of that is the presidency, the Senate, and the House feels totally out of our control. But I think we rationalize that it is within our control.
We feel like we got a shot at getting in there.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court, it just is a thing that's like the final say on a lot of shit. And, donate to Planned Parenthood and stuff like that, if you have money. I know a lot of people were kind of bummed about it this week, but, I mean, I think we all were fair. I felt like prepared that this was going to happen, She was a pretty old lady.
Yeah.
I was a little bit when I got home that night. Well, obviously I was pissed off at her for not. But then I started to think about it, right? It's like she didn't retire in 2013, 14, or 2015, and she should have. But I think if you asked any person walking the earth right now that doesn't have a terminal disease, any person, if the person's 95, they would say they probably got 4 more years in them. You know, like I don't know a lot of people that wouldn't say like, oh, I got 4 more years in me. I can make it through this 4 years. So like I do think in her mind it was a sound decision because it was like you just can't imagine yourself getting to that point, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it was. I mean, it was all based upon Hillary Clinton winning, I guess.
Yeah, that was a goofy gamble to take.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying that like, I think even when she started thinking about like, okay, well, if she doesn't win, then I can, because she had to have in her mind that there was a possibility that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to win. There was always a possibility of that. And I think probably when people asked her about that possibility, she probably figured she had 4 more years left in her. You know, I can make it 4 more years. You know.
Yeah.
Now she's gonna be replaced by Adam Carolla, and that's just the world we're gonna have to live.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly haven't paid attention and don't give a shit.
I mean, I just saw that she's dead. I haven't paid attention to anything, really.
Yeah.
My screen time was down 25% this week.
Oh, congratulations.
I get a little report every Sunday. I was feeling pretty good about myself.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the people that are the ones that are being the loudest and they're most afraid are the ones that feel like it's just now getting bad. And like you said, it felt like this in 2012 too.
Yeah. I do think that there's a lot of people with a lot to lose on this, especially on this situation. Like it really infuriates me. Well, I think what infuriates me the most is that she didn't retire. You know, she's, I guess, a smart person, you know? And I think it really does bother me.
I think so as well.
That a lot of people, that bothers me, and I don't like this idea that like people are now like, you didn't go out and vote for Hillary Clinton, now look what you did. And it's like, man, she could have retired in 2015.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the thing. Like we were around mutual friends last night, and you know, and this is probably just because the way it's reported, you know, none of them brought up like, she was pretty old, like in 2014. And I think maybe even had cancer already.
Yeah, in 2009 she had cancer.
Yeah. So she should have retired because there's no sure things in this world.
Yeah.
And like seeing them, I know they were stressed out and like they saw it as a tragedy that she died and all this stuff and like, you know, obviously I don't care. But the anger was with everything. There wasn't anger at her, particularly, and she's the person who made ultimately the decision that led to this. You know, it's frustrating, and I think it's just because the way the news reports on it is like, well, you know.
Well, and like you said, I mean, they're expected to be like oracles, like so old wise ones on the mountaintops that are, you know, seers. Like, yeah. I don't know if they're supposed to. Did they ever step down, or?
Yeah.
Do they get a magic scepter?
Fuck, you know what, dude? Like, I can't even think if I remember. I don't think one has retired since me and you have been doing this. So obviously we don't know what the people before did because we weren't ever looking at it. You know, we weren't. I don't think either one of us cared about the Supreme Court before we started doing this show, and we you know only tangentially care about it doing this show. So
yeah,
I don't think one has retired since we started doing Street Fight. At the very least, I don't think I would retire. I really don't. I think I'm a crazy enough fucking person that it would just be like, I'll do it next year. You know, like a lot of people. When they get super, super old, they don't, and they're still working, right? You're working past 80. You know, you gotta think like, I don't know what life looks like if I retire.
Sure.
And I also think that there's a lot of people who think that if they retire, they die. That is like I've heard people say like the only thing keeping me alive is work. And you see people die 1 month after they retire quite a bit.
That's true.
So Maybe she just was, maybe she didn't really believe that in her heart of hearts, but maybe in the back of her mind, she was like, if I'm not doing this,
I'm definitely gone.
What am I going to fucking do?
Yeah.
What do we even have to hold on for? But the anger is just so misplaced right now on like Mitch McConnell, a guy who, we all know is a huge, he deserves anger. But we also all knew he was a big piece of shit before this happened, and he was not going to not take this shot. You know what I mean? To replace her. So I don't know. I'm worried, but also, willing to do whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to do, as Brett has said in the past. I think I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this happen, to make whatever has to happen.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with you.
It's really tough because it's just the whole thing is set up to give them the power. Like, they remain in power, and people aren't turned off by it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the Republicans are excellent at fucking government.
I know, and that's maybe one of the funnier things about it is that they're looked like as the dummies, and the Democrats are these like statesmen, these polite, gentle statesmen, types things, and you're like, you're a bunch of they're losers, is what they are.
I've already, yeah.
Let's get some calls, man. Let's have some fun.
Yeah,
let's goof around.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Is this me?
It's you. Hey, how's it going?
It's me. Wow. Yeah, it's going great. How are you guys?
I'm okay. Well, I'm looking at Glenn Beck right now and Matt Iglesias talking to each other. It's just on my computer.
Man, fuck Glenn Beck.
He looks way different now, though.
What's he doing? What's his new grift?
I haven't seen him in a while.
Is he a
My
country
dad
boy?
used to watch him.
Yeah. I liked him. I didn't like him he was the first political talk radio I ever listened to in my life, like that I got way into because I thought he was a shock jock, and he wasn't. Obviously, once I found out he was Mormon, I got a little bit like, oh, okay, what's going on here? But I thought Glenn Beck was a shock jock when I first found him, and he didn't end up being one, but I don't know. He just looks wild. I don't know. I saw his face on the screen, and I was like, God, he looks wild.
He looks like Colonel Sanders now.
He does. He
used to look like a beatnik poet.
Yes.
Now he looks like Colonel Sanders.
He's gone Sanders. Yes.
He looks like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. He's wearing like a bolo tie and a denim shirt. So he's moved on from scarves and like looking like an author to this new cool look. So what's up?
Good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, smoking. I'm Jack from Kansas City.
What's up, Jack?
This is the first time calling in, but I've been listening since like 2017. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But just I got a few quick things before we like talk about anything real quick. But like the federal government, just fuck it in general. Like vote local and state. Like that's what really matters.
Yeah,
I think like yeah,
that's where we have to start.
Like you were saying, Brian, like the federal government is like pretty much just out of our hands, essentially. So like we got to start like local before we can do anything up there.
I agree. I think we have to stop. We have to stop leading from the back when it comes to like on Democrat stuff. Like we have to create enough of the like a grassroots movement down below is the only thing I can see that would give us any sort of like leverage, I guess, in the fight.
Like and part of like I have a lot of despair for what's going on too, but I do see a little hope with like stuff like AOC and like that general thing. Like I feel like that's gonna start happening a lot where people from their districts or whatever are doing it the grassroots style.
Yeah
I do think like I don't know how far we can get within the Democratic Party, But I do think that
No, not at all.
I do think I think the left is getting a lot better at these smaller scale elections. And as you said, even at the federal level, we then start having to deal with like cable news and stuff like that, which when you're winning, the Republicans basically took over city councils and state level stuff. And that's how they got this base of power that they've had to then be able to build it from there up. And you know, I think there's like I'm like a very impatient person, you know, but it will take like decades to build a base big enough to like really be able to be a force where we can be like, hey,
yeah,
you know, you got to do what we say now, which is the goal.
Yeah, and to touch on that a little too, like part of that also is that it's hard to do this from the leftist side just because it's kind of like founded in like the basis of America, but a lot of those like that comes with religion a lot of the time, I think. And so it's like completely not a separation of church and state like it should be, but I feel like leftists kind of can do that in a sense that like, I mean, I'm not even a Christian myself, like I used to be, but like Christianity, like the core tenets are very like close to socialism, and I feel like if leftists can, I mean, like, I don't want to say exploit that, but exploit that is the best way to get that across. Like, we could do something like that also in terms of, you know, using religion to group the masses.
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely. Brett has said in the past that there's like a need to create something for the left that is equal to church, like that is a mobilizing force. Like religion. Like I was saying, it could be something completely different, just similar. Monster truck rallies.
Yeah.
Those are great.
There you go.
That's something I've been
Monster
thinking.
Truck rallies
We would dig.
and big cocaine lines.
Yeah.
Demolition derby clubs.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I do think that there is something to be said about maybe. And you know, I know people get annoyed with the like spaces argument, but if there were some bars or like areas in town where people could like hang out and also have fun and also, you know, drink and hang, but that are all kind of in the same kind of mindset, I think a lot of things could like happen from there too. You could build scenes of people who then could get it. Like you could definitely grow something out of like a cool space or a few cool spaces that people hang out at, and hopefully do things, you know, organizing spaces that aren't in like a college conference room or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
Right. No, yeah, I get that, yeah. And the other quick thing I had was like just fuck Apple. Like the company Apple.
Whoa! No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I was going to say maybe like fuck the fruit company, but whatever. I have an Apple device or whatever, and like I totally want to go Android because like it's just some bullshit. Like they make so much money, and for some reason my phone has like these stupid ass glitches that, okay, so I'll just say this. I had Bluetooth headphones on one day, and I was listening to some music or whatever. Someone called me. I answered the call, and then I turned off the headphones, and then I couldn't hear them. I couldn't do anything. I tried to call them back. Nothing happened. And so I guess, like, my phone thinks I'm always hooked up to Bluetooth. So I have to have Bluetooth headphones on if I want to call anyone or anything. But I can't switch because all my music, and I really love music, is on Apple. And like my library is just so large that it would be very impossible to get everything over. And so that's my dilemma.
I believe there are some, you can transfer your Apple Music library.
There's some app.
Yeah, to transfer it to Spotify and stuff. It'll copy over playlists and libraries, I believe.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, the thing
I'm gonna have to look into that then.
I switched a while ago and had to do that.
I'm kind of hot under the collar at Apple right now because
you like it.
I mean, no,
what
Brett's still on
about?
Apple. Brett's still on Apple. I said I'm hot under the.
Using Apple still.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use Apple Music. I don't use Apple Music.
Yeah, I use
Okay, you
Spotify.
switched to Spotify. I got you. I thought you were saying you switched to Android. What were you saying though, Brian?
I think the thing I'm mad about him about is really kind of stupid, but we're going to the drive-in to see Hannibal Buress, and I want to have a Bluetooth speaker outside so I can sit outside of the car, which I think you're allowed to do. You can bring chairs and sit outside the car. And
right.
So my thought was like, I'll tune in to the radio frequency that they're putting out on my phone and then bring a Bluetooth speaker and we can have it outside and listen to it. So scientifically, I think that's impossible because the radio doesn't have an AM FM antenna on it, right? It would have to, on the phone. So what would have to happen is the drive-in would have to have like an internet server that puts out the audio and then I could tune into it from there, right? Apple used to have tuners in the phones. They had an AM FM tuner.
I was about to say, Apple used to have a radio app. I remember that.
Yeah, they got rid of them. So we're gonna have to sit in a car.
No, that is. I agree. Like both of the things that we're griping about are like very insignificant to what like Apple is really doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah. They stink. I mean, the user friendliness of the stupid things is that's the only thing that keeps me on it is because I don't want to fucking hack my phone all the time. Not a hacker. I'm just a regular guy, I'm a regular Joe, not a hacker. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in.
I've been wanting to look into hacking though. And speaking of making money, I think hacking is a way you could make money.
You're right.
But yeah.
No.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah. Have a good time. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, that's actually another good one. If you can get like an Xbox 360 or an original Xbox and put your own hard drive on it and turn it into like a custom ROM thing that has every fucking Nintendo Genesis game and on it and all that shit. That's a good way to make money for sure.
You just said Nintendo Genesis and you did that on purpose.
Nintendo and Genesis, I meant.
I know, but the way you said it, people were gonna fucking message you about for sure and say you sounded like Grandma Nana or something because you said you can get a machine and put your Nintendo Genesis on there, and it's like okay, play Night Trap.
Yes.
Watched the whole thing about Night Trap like a month ago.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was about the crusade against violent video games that was going on back then and how like nobody in the world played Night Trap or cared. I cared about it. Obviously, you see it and you're like, I want to play that, especially if you're like horny. And but the Congress was like that was the main game they were talking about at the video game violence hearings was Night Trap.
Really?
Yeah. They were just sitting up there talking like this. I can't believe you can do this. And plus, like, there's like a lot of really good information about how they made the game and how scary they wanted to make it. But Sega was like, you're allowed to have vampires, but they're not allowed to like move fast and they're not allowed to like grab anybody. So they're these kind of like hunchbacks that like can wave their arm. It's really weird, but it's cool. It's cool. It's like how things are made by committee, and they have the creator of it like in the interview, and it's like one of those games that stinks.
I'll watch that.
I love seeing interviews with guys who are part of like, or guys, gals, and non-binary pals who are part of things that failed.
Yeah.
Like I really like to watch they had interviews with the guy that made the E.T. Atari game, which is like famously one of the fucking worst things. And I think to even be the person that'll do the interview, I think it just makes you 10 times cooler to be like, yeah, I mean, I'll come and talk about it,
Total blunder.
Yeah, for sure. I love that shit. I love big failures. I wish there should goddamn be a podcast about huge failures, like a deep dive into like Crystal Pepsi and New Coke. Even though those are like hacky ones. There's tons of like stuff that we don't even fucking remember that came out in our lifetimes that were enormous flops that we can't even remember anymore because they were such flops.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff that gets swept under the rug.
Yeah, it rules.
All right, next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, y'all. This is Slinky down in Pensacola, Florida.
What's up, Slinky? How's Florida doing?
Well, mainly I'm going to talk about a hurricane that hit this past Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I shared
Panhandle.
I shared a fundraiser for that.
Yeah. I sent that to y'all.
Oh, right on. What's going on down there?
I appreciate. So it's kind of all over the place. I don't know how it is elsewhere, but I'm guessing we're not getting much media coverage because a lot of folks don't know what's going on.
Dude, when you messaged me, when you DM'd me, I didn't know there was a hurricane. You are not getting a lot of media coverage. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I figured. I just got power back, so like things are relatively good. But seems like with this one, there was just a big problem of like media fatigue, and also just like a super active hurricane season. So people down here were fatigued of like hearing like, oh, a storm might hit you, a storm might hit you. You know, we heard it like 50 times already this summer. So a lot of people really weren't prepared. A lot of people probably don't know, but this one was called Hurricane Sally, and they named the storms like according to alphabet. So it's like A to Z, most letters every year. A storm will just get a name, and they just had to start the alphabet over because they've had so many this season because of climate change. So now they're on like the Greek alphabet.
I had no idea.
I didn't know that at first. Yeah.
I had not. I'm gonna tell you.
Beta now.
Jesus, I haven't heard about a single fucking hurricane at all this year. Like, I can't think of any hurricane. Have you, Brett? Have you been hearing about?
I saw the. Honestly, no. I just saw the announcement that they had to start the alphabet over. I did see that headline.
This is climate change, right? Like, this is the kind of thing where, like, now this year, it's this like super active hurricane season, but now we're in a because of climate change, we're used to active hurricane seasons, and you just can't get people out of their chair for a hurricane anymore. And then the press isn't going to cover it, but it's like if the press covered it, maybe people would take climate change a little bit more seriously, you know?
Yeah, and we're seeing them behave differently too. Like this storm, it was only in Category 2, but it picked up so much water because there was so much like warm water, probably from climate change in the Gulf of Mexico, and it was moving at like 2 miles per hour across the Gulf, which is incredibly slow, just like picking up water. And so the flooding was the main issue. I'm in Pensacola, and things are, you know, there's serious damage here, but it's not as widespread as it could be. And one of my groups, I'll plug our fundraiser later, but we're working on relief out in like rural communities in South Alabama. Because the part of Florida I'm in, it's basically like Alabama. It's as far west as you can go. So we're working over there in like rural communities. We tarped some roofs yesterday. Had some chainsaws out, and mostly helping old people who weren't getting any help. National Guard is around, but like shit's just really fucked up. Like they were passing out MREs yesterday, the National Guard was, and local police were directing traffic, and they had like a miscommunication on directing traffic and just like sent a line of people who had been waiting in line for MREs for like 4 hours, like directed them away and just like got them out of the line, and they couldn't come back and were like cursing at people, and like just basically these people have been waiting for food for like fucking like 4 hours and didn't even get it because the cops were like fucking up.
That is so, yeah, you're waiting in line and the cops are like, we need you to move. Did they do the thing where they're like, this is the worst thing in the world? They say, we need you to move or we need you to go this way, but you're in a car with the windows up and they're screaming at you, and they just they get more and more mad at you, and you just are like, I just want to be away from here and drive away as fast as you can.
Yeah, I mean, people are scared of police, like, you know, rationally so. Like, they shouldn't be the ones out there, like, directing traffic. Like, I could do that. Like, anybody could direct traffic easily. It doesn't have to be the police.
I mean, if they could just not fucking scream at people, that would be terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all I care about is like, hey, how about we maybe treat the people in the cars with respect that are waiting for food? Because I guess when they got back, were they able to come back and get their meals?
I do not know. This is a story I heard about today. Just one of the distro sites. They've got a bunch around the city. I mean, I wouldn't get back in a line after like 4 fucking hours. If I had like gotten misdirected, like they probably went to like McDonald's or something like that and just called it a day.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have done. Really.
Yeah.
You don't want an MRE. I don't think. I've never had one in my life, but I'm sure that's like some Brett food. He would eat those and be like, oh, this is fine.
But again, like a lot of people don't have power.
Sure,
and a lot of people like weren't prepared. Like I wasn't prepared. I sent most of my supplies over to some homies in Southwest Louisiana. I think some are planning to call in tonight because you have a few listeners down there who were hit too. But there was another Hurricane Laura like 2 weeks ago. Jesus. And so me and a bunch of my comrades like sent a bunch of our supplies over there, and then we didn't prep for this one. So we were just like fucked.
Oh, I feel for y'all down there. That's got to be crazy. It's got to be something to like. We had a storm a couple weeks ago that everybody panicked about. That was nothing, and you know, we don't have. Me and Brett, I don't think we have any extensive experience with any sort of natural disaster. So, my heart goes out to. Well, like I wouldn't even know how to deal with it. I wouldn't know how to be prepared.
Xerxes in the chat says,
"Yeah, you would not do well without power." I feel like that's like the worst case Brian scenario.
Probably true.
It is the worst case because if I can't have a fan on while I'm sleeping, that becomes an issue. What were you gonna say, Brett?
Xerxes in the chat says that they have lived through a 100-year flood and a 1,000-year flood in the last 10 years. In Southeast Alabama, where they're at.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I took a kayak to one of my buddy's fucking houses, like in a storm 4 years ago, to like check on him. Like, you know, it's that kind of shit sometimes.
So you don't have power right now?
I got it back.
I have a suggestion for Florida. Can I give a suggestion? Maybe bury those lines under the ground. Yeah, just bury the lines under the ground, and you know. I don't. You can.
Yep.
But I mean, maybe that might be maybe you should simply bury the. Like, I don't know if you dig a little bit, there's water.
Prohibitive.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might also be that you can't put stuff underground because you're on if you dig a little bit, you end up with water. That's why y'all don't have basements. But they only bury cables 6 feet underground or 6 inches underground. So I think. You know, I'm going to get on the phone with Comcast down there in Florida and let them know that I think and their electric company and be like, hey, you know, let's bury this stuff under the ground. I've been thinking, let's get it all underground.
Yeah, my dad's high up not high up, but middle level high up in Alabama Power, the main Alabama power company. So maybe I'll ask him like why the hell these aren't underground.
Yeah, tell him to give me a call.
Conversation.
Tell him to give me a call because I have some ideas too for you know, you can make actually though, like there's no way you could make all of the problem with electricity is you can't really, I don't think, make it all underground because you got to have the power plant area, the like generate the area that generates the power, the substations, yeah. Which if they get hit by a hurricane, I mean, what are you gonna fucking do, you know? But yeah. Well, tell people where to you know, direct their resources to, so we can help out with this.
Yeah, for sure. So there is a GoFundMe for a group I helped found this summer called Central Gulf Coast People's Council. You can search on GoFundMe it's called CGCPC. That's Central Gulf Coast People's Council Hurricane Sally Relief. We're picking up stuff like chainsaws, tarps, gasoline, and this Saturday we're doing like two all-day food shares in rural Alabama. We're going to be doing like breakfast, lunch, and dinner 2 days in a row for one of the hardest hit areas. So that's one place you can give funds, and I'll be on the ground cooking and whatnot. And there's also one of my friends who do Food Not Bombs here. He's like the best anarchist I know, the truest anarchist I know. Love him to death. He runs it's like a sort of homeless camp on private property, so the cops don't fuck with them. It's, the residents all work together to like make decisions for the place, and they live in tents with the goal of like transitioning to stable housing because the cops aren't fucking with them. They can hold down a job and whatnot. It's called Satoshi Forest, and you can just go to satoshiforest.com and donate there. And they have a lot of like tree damage and stuff that they need help with, and also just help paying their mortgage. They help a lot of people just hold down stable housing, and they only have like a $12,000 mortgage a year that they pay for the property, but it's all community funded, and they could always use funds. So satoshiforest.com or Central Gulf Coast People's Council Hurricane Sally Relief on GoFundMe.
All right. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it, and keep us posted.
Yep. Y'all have a good night. Take care.
Hurricanes, Brett.
Yeah, this sounds tough.
It's really sad. I don't want to come off like bad like this, but I sort of do want to experience something like that in my life for some reason. But
yeah, not like have your home be there though.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's like when there's a big storm, I am like fixated on it. There's nothing else I want to pay attention to, be outside, just checking it out. I like it. I like sort of the chaos before, it starts to get darker. But yeah, I mean, it does suck that like these hurricanes are hitting. They're not really talking about them on the news at all. Like, I don't know where you would even be hit with that news, probably locally for them. But the way that he described it was probably fairly true, because during the winter they tell us there's going to be a snow emergency all the time, and they don't happen. So then sometime in the winter they're like, there's going to be a snow emergency, and we're like, it's not going to fucking happen. And then it happens, and we're all fucked. You know what I mean?
Under a sheet of ice. We didn't buy anything.
Yes.
Yeah, and it also, this is the conversation that like we need to have. It needs to be bigger news. It can't just be like, a weird fact of the day, they've run out of letters in the alphabet for hurricanes,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we should have, it needs to be something that, because like this also makes the climate change case a little bit, obviously it's not going to make it, it'll show people who are receptive to information that that this is happening more and more all the time. It's not going to convince people that think God makes hurricanes. But, what are you going to do? You're never going to get them, you know?
They're our problem.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
Just off my Bluetooth. How's it going?
We're great. How are you?
Not too bad. This is David from Tucson. I called a few weeks ago about being a ref and then being a teacher and all that.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's going on in Tucson? Tucson, as they say.
Yeah, Tucson. It just turned nighttime here. Good old Tucson. Not too much, man. I'm calling. Oh, by the way, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy did retire. That's how he got Kavanaugh.
Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah, I do. I do remember Kavanaugh going through.
Yeah.
How old was Anthony Kennedy? Do you know?
Let me look that up.
I think he was in his 70s.
So
I think he was
younger
in his
than
70s.
RBG.
He made the smart move. Like,
oh yeah,
they're good at government.
Younger than RBG.
Yep. Yeah,
they're just way better at doing government.
So we're gonna just turn everybody against her. I think
They also overrepresented. I mean, I think someone did point out like the amount of senators that some of these other states get where they don't deserve them.
Well, they only get 2 of those. The representatives that they get.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the senators.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like all the people in California get 2 senators.
That's true.
All of the fucking entire Southwest also gets like, a dozen or whatever.
All the people in Wyoming get 2 senators, and all the people in New York get 2 senators. You're totally right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, and it's funny because I've seen people like RBG, like she was cool. I didn't know that much about her. I'm not on like the hate train or like the like adoration train, but like it's really funny to see people like I've seen a lot of takes on Twitter where it's like, you guys, she couldn't retire when Obama was in president because Mitch would have stopped him. And it's like, so you're saying that like the Democrats at the height of their power couldn't stop one Republican senator from like making like it's a nonsense argument to me.
Yeah.
Funny.
They've always got a reason why they lost.
Well, and they
That's
also
the first thing they've got is a reason why they lost.
They've been wearing those T-shirts for so many years. The notorious RBG shirts. They just can't. They can't be mad at her. You can't expect them to get mad at her because that is just beyond the pale. And it's like, no, that's. I mean, she's the one. She made the choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's funny to see these takes on Twitter, but I'm not calling to talk about politics, pile of tricks. I'm here to talk about work because you guys did that list on your other show of the top 20 worst jobs to work for, and the job I'm calling about didn't make the list and probably wouldn't make the list, but it reminded me of this one particular incident. I worked at Starbucks for a long time.
Okay.
And that's, that's customer service, and so I'm gonna have to explain this, and I hope it comes off clearly. Let me know if you have any questions. But basically, when you work at this is years ago, but when you worked at Starbucks, you got 2 guaranteed raises a year. That's how it used to be. Okay, 2 guaranteed raises. They came with performance reviews, and I mean, like they were piddling, like they were like 2% raises, but it was like better than like nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you got 2 performance reviews, and your raise was entirely up to your store manager, your boss, on what they thought your job was how you did your job, which is cool. And so anyone who's worked for like a food service or like corporation knows that like there's 2 tactics that these places use when they're about to make a change. If it's a small enough change, they'll like not say anything and just hope that no one notices. But if it's a really, really big change, they'll make a really big deal about it and pretend like it's the best thing in the world. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that.
Yeah.
But Starbucks did that a lot. And with this one, they were changed. Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, they always take some task that wasn't bothering you and then send an email out that says, we're about to make lunchtime a lot easier. And it's like, no, you're not. You're gonna take away minutes from me.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yep. Lunch is more streamlined because now you get a half hour instead of 45 minutes. Yeah, stuff like that.
We took away those harsh rules that said you couldn't eat at your desk. Now you can.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to leave your desk.
It is always, yeah. Yeah. Because the truth is, in this world that we live in, there are no good change. They will never make a good. I've never been at a company that made a good change. Never. Not once.
The time to change is, if it costs you money or it's costing you money, you don't want to do it anymore.
Right. I never been at a company that was like, well, we took a look around and we're not paying you commensurate with the amount of work that you do. We feel that you're working very hard and your pay is just, a little low. And we just want to give y'all $3 extra an hour starting out. They would never do that. But they would be like, all right, we're having a tough time. So we're just going to take, no raises this year across the board. The executives aren't getting a raise. And neither are you down there in the call center or at the Starbucks,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's never good. And like, that's how Starbucks was. It was that same thing where like, and this was the biggest one. So this one was funny because Well, it wasn't funny at the time. It was like interesting at the time. But so they announced that there was a change coming to the raise system, and they announced it like a month and a half before we found out what it was.
Oh, no.
And like every week or so, they would send a new communication like, "You guys aren't going to believe what we have in store for you."
Oh, no. I think I believe it.
Yeah. And so so I knew right away. I was like, oh, this isn't good. Like the way they were hyping up, I was like, this is gonna suck. But I had like more like optimistic coworkers that were like, no man, they're gonna give us all $1 raise an hour, and I was like, that's not happening. But they so they did this for like a month, and then like about halfway through, because we didn't know when the announcement was coming, but we knew that it was coming soonish. And about halfway through, they sent every store in America, at least I know in America, I'm not sure if it was globally, but they sent us like a bag of orange candies to share.
Oh, can I gotta stop you. This is like a fucking movie launch or a video game launch.
Yeah,
it's like they give you the teaser, like, holy shit, that's what the Batmobile looks like this time. And then they go to Comic-Con and there's like guys dressed up as the Penguin handing out like USB drives that have like an extended trailer on it. And then, you know, then they're like, oh, right before the next Marvel movie, you're going to get your Batman full trailer. And then, the McDonald's commemorative cups come out, and then finally you get to the announcement.
Yeah, exactly. That's this even hyped people up more. But it was like I was to the point where I was so pessimistic. I was like, so is this the new raise system? Like we just get orange candy? Like I was like, is this our new raise system? Like they were like, employers are like, no man, they're sending us free stuff. It's so cool. Like don't worry, it's gonna be good. And then it was like radio silence for like a week after that. And I was like, okay, we were all like, this is weird because they sent us these orange candies. They're telling us to get hyped up, whatever. And so now I'm going to try to explain what they changed the raise system to. So, like I said, if this is confusing at all, I haven't really explained it out loud to anyone. So this is my first time. But okay, so they finally laid it out to us, and they put it in all this confusing language. They made this huge announcement. They tried to make it like as vague as possible, I guess, but with us still knowing what was going on. And so what it broke down to was they were taking away a raise per year. That was the first thing. So we were down to one raise per year. The raise we got was bigger, depending. But here's the biggest thing is that your raise was no longer up to your store manager. It was up to how well your area did. And my area when I worked there was Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and Nevada. So depending on how these
Utah's
four
not great.
Did,
Utah's not a great state to get in that because of, you know, there's a lot of people there that don't drink caffeine.
Yeah, it's Mormon capital of the world. And so it was just really funny because it was like the idea was like, if you guys really work your butts off, and so does everyone else in these four states, you're going to get a 4% raise instead of a 2% raise. So they took away one raise, and they gave us like a slightly bigger raise, only annually. And we would get more raises if they just stuck to the original system, 2 raises of 2% rather than like 3.5% annually or whatever.
Yeah.
But they wanted to hide that. They didn't want us thinking about that. And they also what else? Oh yeah. And the worst part of it was that they kept the two performance reviews a year. So we still got reviewed twice a year, but it didn't come with any raises.
That's so unfair.
That's shit.
Yeah, it's yeah. So it's just, and our store manager had it was for nothing because our store manager, they didn't control our raise anymore.
Yeah.
So it was just to hear about where we're like for a half hour twice a year or an hour, depending on how bad you were messing up.
Fuck, man.
And then also, like, so for people that work there for 20 months or 21 months, it makes it so that they don't have to give them a raise at 18 months. Like, if it's every year, you know, you're depriving people of money for longer, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then also, like you said, it's like you get there and used to get 2% raises, but now 3.5% looks like a hell of a lot more than the 2% raise you used to get.
Yeah,
so there were really no upsides to this, right? I can't think of an upside. What was their articulation of the upside?
They were saving money because I worked out the math, and it was like best case scenario, if you did when we had 2 reviews, best case scenario, you were getting 6% a raise a year. And then best case scenario, if everyone in the 4 states you worked at, or your area was, and you like did the best you could, and so did everyone else in those 4 states, you were getting a 5% raise.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So nothing. So like they saved money, but they made it seem like it was like, like doing us a favor.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what was their way of saying like this is actually good for you?
Well, no, just by making it. I mean, just by putting all of this fanfare around it, they're just doing a lot of smoke and mirrors and dancing around. So because they can't just show you the math. They can't say like,
and they really
before you used to get 6%, now you get 5%. They can't.
That's
they
so
can't
cynical. That is really fucking cynical. That's actually cynical on a level that I kind of admire a little bit.
Yeah, they really, really emphasized the 5% part, because at most we were used to like, usually it was like 2%, but you got twice a year, but like they didn't want you thinking about that.
Right.
So they really emphasized like you could be making 5% more every year. Like you could be doing it.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Like, so they were just hoping no one thought about it for more than 5 seconds.
I think it's unfair to. I can't imagine being coffee being that hot fucking coffee being popular in that part of the world. I know even in Texas, like iced tea and kombucha is like fucking huge. So why wouldn't you be connected to everybody else? Like, I don't see why it's how, like, like Brian said, like who wants to get fucking paired up with Utah to sell coffee?
That's the thing. I hate things. I hate raises also. I think it's like, I mean, I'm a big collective guy, I'm a communist, of course, but I hate in this world that we live in now, under the system we live in now, I hate my raises being tied to another person. That like really is unfair to me. Like, and to have it tied to another store, it's like, well, we're not like, what can we do to make a store in Las Vegas run better? Well,
and that's pretty much what like their idea was like I'm sure their idea was like, oh, this is going to make everyone work together, and like I don't know what their idea actually was, but the idea of like raises not being tied to what I personally do anymore, like it just made me stop caring as much, which I'm sure happens to like literally everyone, because that's what happens. It's not like we're all going to band together and just really push those frappuccinos to hopefully get a 5% raise. It completely backfired on them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, it just makes it feel like, well, shit. I mean, I can't control what the baristas in the next state over are doing. Like, I'm totally out of control now. It's like I'm just gonna get whatever they say I get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was pretty much the attitude from then on out. Was like, well, I mean, raises are out of our hands, so whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hate that. I think like hearing the cynicism and doing fanfare for it. I mean, that is really like bringing in a marching band, maybe having a celebrity come in and give an announcement on video, It reminds me of the big, it reminds me of Nationwide Insurance, which is in Columbus. They'll have like fucking Brantley Gilbert come out and like play a little show and like have maybe a little bit of pyro and just be like, we had a record breaking year this year. Yeah. And it was really just, we had a record. That was the whole announcement. There was like nothing in it for you. You got Brantley Gilbert.
Right.
It's like, what a fucking pathetic prize.
And that's so funny, because it's like it's literally like, I mean, it's capitalism. I know it's the problem, but it's like I'm sure every single one of those employees would rather have like at least a piece of the money that it costs to get Brantley Gilbert than actually get Brantley. Like, I'd rather just have the money, please. Just, however small it is, just give it to me.
Give me the 30 cents.
Split it up.
Maybe 10 cents. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll take 3 dimes. I'll take 3 fucking dimes instead of watching Brantley Gilbert say, Nationwide is on your side.
In the middle of your fucking day, too. In the middle of your work day, you have to walk or get in a car and go to the arena and then watch it and come back and work. Doesn't stop. No. You would rather just be at your desk doing the work.
Okay. That concert ran a little bit long. I know we were having fun, folks, but we got to get this done by 5.
Yeah. I mean, that's every job.
You got to come back and work twice as hard.
You know what? I'm going to unlock. It's bonus hour. Everybody can eat lunch at their desk.
Yes. It's so fucking weird. I find that to be like, that's one of the weirdest like things that these companies do is these big blowout fucking rallies for the company that just puts everybody behind. And like, it's the only time you will hear real people say, I would rather just be working.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think the CEOs or any of those people even understand that what they're doing. Do you remember when Starbucks was closed for a day so that they could teach them about racism?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I was there. I was there for it.
How was that?
There during that day? Yeah.
How was that?
It was, it was a day. It was just, I remember being really boring because, Starbucks does. Whenever they had these meetings, that was an unusual one, but it was still very much Starbucks themed. So it was almost like Starbucks had just discovered racism and they wanted to explain it to us.
Yeah,
so I don't know,
you're not gonna believe this, folks. This shit's unreal. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Are you freaking kidding me at what's happening right now?
Also, just even to a room of employees are probably generally a little more hip to what's going on. Just Starbucks is coffee shop employees generally are
also probably a blacker workforce.
I know.
It's a service industry job. I mean, it's a blacker workforce too.
It's funny. Yeah. I mean, it's just so weird.
And not only that, but there was these unintended things. Like I had at my store when we went through that, we had I had two black coworkers that were my friends, and so I talked to them about it afterwards, and they were just uncomfortable the entire 4 hours or whatever it was. It was they didn't consider how it actually affects the people that they're quote trying to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was they were literally they felt like everyone's eyes were on them. And it was just, it just sucked for them.
It's like, and it's like one of those moments, even when someone says something weird, like misgenders somebody or says something weirdly racist, and then they just flog themselves to death in front of you to just show how guilty they feel about it. Like, oh, we're so sorry. We think racist stuff about you all the time. We didn't even realize, we're thinking racist shit about you all the time, black employees. It's like, please don't say that to me. Please don't talk about it.
Yeah, yep.
I already know.
And racism thing is funny because a year before that, they had tried this other campaign. I was still there then, but it's called Race Together, where you were supposed to talk about racism while you made someone their drink.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. Thank you.
No, my store opted out. We opted out of that. We had the choice of either going with it or you could as a store opt out, and we all opted out because this is gonna do anything.
Yeah, that is a thing where it's just I do not want the barista or the cashier or anybody to engage me on hot button topics.
Yeah, that's
what do you think about racism? Yeah, it's just
a marketing team gone too far that thinks that they can just re-engineer the world. You know what? We could fix racism with a simple conversation over a coffee order.
A 20-minute video, I think we can. Yeah, it's we can increase. Listen, here's the pitch for it. Listen, we're not going to solve racism in one day. It's going to take millions of little acts, and these little acts, these little conversations where people can finally see your side, can happen here at the Starbucks while you're making a chai tea latte.
Yeah.
You tell the person in line, maybe give them some statistics on who the police stop more often, or so, you know what I mean? And it's that is a risky proposition, to tell you the truth, because some customers are going to give you some pretty wild opinions. That's the other thing. When you get out in the general public on hot button issues, it's people online are generally a little bit more well behaved than when they think it's just you one-on-one with them talking.
Yeah.
And even online, I mean, not on Facebook, I guess. I'm not on Facebook anymore. But I'm saying that when you're in a conversation with somebody one-on-one, they're usually willing to give you a fucking, some wild stuff when you're out there in the general public,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, I don't remember, but I vaguely remember them mentioning during the Race Together thing, the police, Not to mention statistics. During I didn't have a single conversation like this, but a lot of thin blue line people love Starbucks. So they didn't want to lose those customers. So we were not supposed to talk about police, but still talk about race. You know?
Yeah, they do coffee with the cops at a lot of Starbucks. I go in there, I see the sign, and I'm like, ugh, this is why I can't come here.
Yeah.
You know, but you know that, and the coffee's not great.
One of my stores tried that twice, once per year, twice, two times in 2 years, and both times the two cops that were supposed to come never showed up. So yeah,
makes sense because they don't want to do that either. You know, nobody wants these things. You know, nobody wants them. You know what people want at a coffee shop? Somebody maybe playing a guitar. You know, a place to do their work. Things like that. They don't want to get it. Starbucks now is basically McDonald's when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know? People don't want to go to fucking McDonald's and engage on the issues of the day. It's just not how people work, you know? Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem. Can I plug my podcast real fast?
For sure. Go for it.
First, my Twitter handle is at Green Left Arrow, and then my podcast is called Guys We're Screwed. It's about the apocalypse and the different ways the world could end. And then I'm doing a stream this Thursday at 4 p.m. PST. My Twitch is bwayne317. That's a lot of information. So if you guys caught that, thank you. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for calling. It was a good time. Thanks. Yeah. Starbucks, dude. Starbucks isn't ever gonna make a list like that because they put a minimum amount of. There's like a small amount of thought that goes towards the employees there, from my understanding. I've known a lot of people that work there to like get through college and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, it sucks, but like, there's a lot worse places to work."
Yeah. But, I mean, they do care slightly more than your average fast food place. Like you said, they are the McDonald's, but maybe a step above McDonald's as far as the working goes.
Right. They want decent press for the way that they treat the employees because there is a contingency of customers that go there that want to believe that the employees are getting like shares of the stock.
Oh,
and
yeah,
shit
yeah.
like
They
that.
think
You know what I
that
mean?
they're like, we're all this together. It is so funny to think about, though, like just people like pouring coffee beans and like inspirational music, like boom, 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 boom. It's like every day we serve 1 million cups of coffee. Imagine if that was 1 million conversations about racism.
Yes.
Imagine what that could do for the world.
Exactly. I mean, it's such an odd conversation. That is an odd thing for them to ask the employees to do too.
Yeah. You can't invite that.
Yeah.
We ask so much. Like, the thing about it is that I think the American tradition is all fast food employees are trash people that should have a lot of strife in their job. Their job should be so fucking hard that it makes them want to do something better, right?
Yeah.
We can't ask them to do anything else then.
Yeah.
Like if that's what we're going to treat them like, we can't ask for extra services.
True.
All right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, it's Nick from Philly.
What's up, Nick? How's it going tonight? Oh, Nick. Is this Nick
from
Philly? Is this Nick?
Yep. You stayed in my house when it was 1,000,000 degrees outside and the cursed DNC was happening.
Yeah, I remember that. Still, it's the worst I've ever slept in my life. What's up, Nick?
Yeah, sorry about that. We got
you don't have to apologize.
Box fans and window unit system worked out now.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to apologize. It wasn't bad. I slept on a floor in front of a fan one night on
a piece of foam.
On a piece of foam, and I was just like, when we left that tour, when that tour was over, I said, Brett, we can't afford to tour if we can't afford hotel rooms. Was basically what I took away from that.
Catching up with me.
Yeah. So what's up, Nick?
So I'm calling because considering I mailed you that Kratom in the first place, I kind of owe you guys this story. I had a seizure on Sunday.
Okay.
And I learned from the emergency room doctor that apparently Kratom can lower your threshold for seizures. Not like Kratom will give you a seizure, but if you are taking, say, Wellbutrin or other antidepressants, or you're on stimulants for ADHD, or you have any other risk factors for seizure, it's definitely something to keep in mind. I had gotten sick with some sort of mystery non-COVID illness, and it was one of those things I just kind of laid in bed and kind of stopped eating and got really dehydrated. And then I had a seizure while I was using my computer, and thankfully my wife was in the room right next to me, and it wasn't a convulsive one. Apparently I was just kind of like writhing back and forth and going, and then it was as if I was sleepwalking. That went on for about 5 minutes, and after that, it was just like I kept trying to sit up and going, what? I heard about all this secondhand.
That's wild.
All I remember is seeing the red flash from an ambulance light on the wall, going, what do you suppose that is? And then the fire department medics were in my house, and then I went to the hospital.
Yeah? How did they get you out of it?
I just came out of it, like, just about a minute before they showed up. Because it lasted, I don't know, the seizing lasted about 5 minutes, and then the sort of half awake, sleep, talking confusion must have lasted a little longer. I mean, again, it's all secondhand. I don't remember any of it. On the other hand, my anxiety's gone. It's just gone.
Nice. Well, hey, I'm looking for a seizure then. Actually, my anxiety is better too.
Well, anyway, I learned that's what electroconvulsive therapy is supposed to be for. It's supposed to trigger a seizure. It just does it in the crudest way possible. And so people who would get shock therapy would have huge gaps in their memory. But their depression would go away for a little while. Now they just use magnets to put on your head for
Somebody
that.
put a magnet on my head. Is that depression or anxiety that the magnets cause?
Depression, but anxiety and depression are comorbid, and throw ADHD in there, and you get a really weird party.
I'm fucking going home and sticking some magnets on my head as soon as we get out of here. My depression has been high level the past 2 weeks, so... Just start wrapping some wire around something to make a coil. I don't know. Don't take my advice. I'm gonna be careful. I promise. Thank you. Thanks for letting us know, Nick. So everything's going good in Philly?
I owe you this warning. Just I haven't had any since. I don't plan on giving it up. I'm just kind of detoxing because I've been taking rather a lot of it for the last few years.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from you, Nick. We miss you.
Hey. And I hope you enjoy that comic I sent you about having the squirts in public.
Yes, he did. He sent me a comic about eating bad food and then having to shit when you don't want to, which not fun. But
leisuretown.com, 90 website, still gold.
Well, we hope when this ends, I hope to see you again in one of the best cities in the United States, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And maybe you'll have your own fit and become some sort of seer.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Nick was really great to us very early on in our run, and we really appreciate it. You were there. You're a real one. You're a real bro there from the beginning. Thank you and Janine.
Thank you so much.
Tell her we said hi,
She
too.
just went to bed, but I'll probably wake her up and tell her.
Yeah, tell her I said hi.
Yeah, shake her awake.
Yeah. She's one of the only audience members in the history of a street fight show that I would ever drive home after the show.
Okay.
I drove her home after the show in Philly. I was like, this is awesome. But thanks for calling, Nick. We appreciate it. It's good to hear from you. It's good to hear you're doing okay.
Pleasure.
Have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Good to be doing okay. Hey, you too.
Yeah. We got to do one more before... yeah, we should at least do one more before break. Yeah, let's do one or two more before break, probably, you know? Because we started a little late, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got to use the restroom.
You want to take a break?
I think we should take a break.
All right. Well,
we got 5 more
time.
to go. I think we can do it.
Well, don't tell them. I'm kidding.
If you're in the queue, we'll get to you. This is Street Fight Radio. This week we have break music coming from Mother Father is the name of the group. Where's their stuff at? Where is that damn Mother Father music at? Well, they're called Mother Father. They listen to Street Fight. If you have a band and you want us to play your stuff, send an email to streetfightradio@gmail.com or message us on any of the other social media platforms. We're at Street Fight WCRS on all the other channels, and we will be back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Street Fight Radio. Hope you enjoy the music. That was the band Mother Father. You can find them at motherfatherstl.bandcamp.com out of St. Louis, Missouri. They sent us our stuff. It's fucking awesome. Hope you enjoyed it. Send them some love. Follow them on Bandcamp. Buy their stuff. Let them know Street Fight sent you. We appreciate any of our artist listeners and musicians that want to get their stuff played. Once again, just reach out on social media or streetfightradio@gmail.com and we'll get you in rotation to play your stuff. This is the call-in show. We've got enough people in the queue to take this thing to midnight, so wait for next week to call in, and I think that's it. Also, we need more submissions for the Street Fight zine, so if you're bored and you want to make some money for your writing, for your art, head to streetfightradio.com. At the top, on the menu, there is a link that says zine submission. Click on that. Right now, we need activism, staying inside, dare, alcohol, landlords, religion, self-care, anarchist history, being an outsider. Lots of different topics to choose from. So head to streetfightradio.com/zine-submission. That'll get you directly there. And please send us your ideas.
Yeah, send them in.
We're pumping them out. We got the War Zine is coming to the Patreon this week. Patreon.com/streetfightradio to get access to that.
Love it. Let's get these calls in, man. Tired. I'm tired.
So tired. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Who's this?
This is Joe calling you from Seattle.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
So far, so good. Halfway through the show, feeling good. Great call so far.
Right on, right on. So you guys were talking last week about freight trains.
Yeah, we were. Well, I was talking about how fast they go, and also if there were luxury trains.
Right. I wanted to call in with a pretty funny story from illegally riding freight trains.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I always wanted to. I've seen those documentaries, and it seems cool.
Yeah. So this was a couple of years ago. I had recently quit my job, and a buddy of mine was in town, and he's got thousands of miles under his belt. He's ridden freight trains all over the country, and he was going to ride this freight train from here down to Portland. And it's supposed to take 6 hours. And it's got what's called a distributed power unit on the back of it, which is what they call the locomotive that they sometimes put on the back of the train to help push it over hills or mountains.
Uh-huh.
And he knows that this particular DPU is usually unlocked, and it's an easy ride down to Portland. So we roll up to the catch-out spot, and it's a sunny day, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Probably about 80 degrees in Seattle, which is a really hot day for around here. And we wait, and we notice that the DPU has finally been aired up, which means the unit on the front of the train has been connected. It's generating compressed air to release the brakes all the way down the train.
Tight.
We know it's going to leave relatively soon, so we make our run across the yard. We're heads on a swivel, looking up and down the tracks. We got to cross like 6 or 7 lines of railroad, that are parallel to each other in the yard. It's a big open area. There's a big overpass that goes over it that we've been hanging out under. So we're really worried that we're getting seen. We all get up to the train or the DPU with our big backpacks on, and we all squeeze in through the door one by one. And it's like 100 degrees in this unit, and the DPU engine itself hasn't started yet, which means it's going to leave sometime today, but it's not going to leave in the next couple minutes. And we wait. And we wait, and like 2 hours go by. So the good news is we must not have gotten seen, otherwise the cops would already be there yanking us off the unit. And finally the train starts to roll after it starts, and we crank the AC because it's got an air conditioning unit in there. and we're feeling pretty good. You know, we got to hide as it goes out of the yard and as it goes out of the city because we don't want to get seen in the unit. Some people realize that, you know, nobody's supposed to be back there. They might call us in. And we start rolling out, and we get down to Kent, which is a suburb of Seattle, and the train stops. And I thought, okay, you know, we'll probably be here for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I break out my little camp stove, and I cook up some soup, and I pack a bowl, smoke a bowl in there. I'm in there with my train riding friend and one other guy, my main friend here in Seattle. And, you know, we're hanging out, smoking, eating, and the train's just sitting there. And we sit there and camp for like 6 hours. Not sure why. But, you know, okay. So we're 6 hours extra. 6 hour train ride is now a 12-hour train ride. And we start rolling again, and we roll through Tacoma as the sun's setting, and it's really nice and pretty. We go into the new Tacoma Narrows bridges, these two big suspension bridges that cross the Narrows of the Puget Sound. And it's just gorgeous. And as the sun is going down, the tracks goes real close to the shoreline, and that's when we feel safe enough to, you know, step out of the actual unit cab and just hang out on the ledge there with the railings as it's motoring down the railway at probably about 70 miles an hour. You know, I read those class whatever go like over 200, but we don't actually have any of those in this country. We just have the classifications for them.
Okay.
Most freight trains top out at 85, and that's like in the high desert and like, you know, on the High Line up in Montana. But on this one, you know, 70 miles an hour on a freight train feels really fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I was standing next to that big diesel motor, and I can feel, you know, each detonation of the chamber in my chest as we're motoring down the railroad, and it was incredible.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
So anyway, Anyway, we get south of Olympia after riding through a lot of like wooded areas in the middle of the night, and the train, you know, slows down real fast and comes to a stop. And we're listening to the train radio, and my buddy's also got a scanner, a handheld scanner, and we hear the train hit someone. I'm like, geez, you know, that's terrible. And also, it's like considered really bad luck if your train hits somebody. You know, in some superstitious parts of the train riding culture. So we sat there, and we ended up sitting there all night for another 12 hours. And the heat never abated. So we were in there, and like the car never really got below 90 degrees. And it was just really hot, and we hardly slept. And the next morning, just after dawn, maybe about 5:30 in the morning, we're up and kind of groggy. And again, we're still smoking the weed in the cab. And probably on our third or fourth bowl, when we hear over the radio that the engineers getting ready to move the train again after they had, you know, finished the report from hitting the lady, and also apparently they'd had a bad order car at some point that they went ahead and brought a crew out to repair, like maybe a car with a flat wheel or bad brakes or something.
Okay.
Anyway, he's telling dispatch that he's going to move the train, and then about 5 minutes later, you know, we're sitting in this train car. They had shut the engine down overnight, so we couldn't run the AC. That's why we were boiling hot all night. And he calls in that he can't get the DPU to start remotely, and he's going to have to come back there and start it manually.
Oh, no.
And we've got, you know, our camp stoves out, our bedrolls are out, we're smoking. There's like a haze of pot smoke in the cab. And we panic. We just gather up all our stuff, and we throw it in our bags. And we pile out of that cab. And, like, we're on a spot on the railroad where there's a really steep grade on both sides of railroad ballast going down at, like, a 45-degree angle in both directions.
Fuck.
And it's, like, dense woods. We scramble down this railroad ballast and, like, hide in some brush just as we hear this white truck, you know, coming down the right-of-way. And the guy, you know, saunters out of the truck and kind of slowly walks up to the DPU and climbs in. And he's in there for a while. He's in there for, like, 15 minutes. And finally, the DPU starts up, and he just kind of climbs back out, gets back in his truck, and goes back to the front of the train. And we climb back into the DPU, and we hear him get clearance from dispatch, and we roll on out of there. And we ended up bailing off the train in Vancouver, Washington, just across the river from Portland. My buddy was still a little sketched out. He didn't want to ride all the way into Portland. We figured they might be looking for us.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, and we ended up just piling in an Uber, just dirty as hell from hiding on the railroad grade and making our way back into Portland.
That's really incredible. That's such a cool story. Although it does remind me of like when I was a teen and I would sneak out of the house and it was after curfew and it was just like every minute you're like on high alert for the police or your parents catching you or somebody pulling up and seeing you. Like I think in my age now at 41 would not be able to handle that, but it is a very romantic thing to me that I would love to try, you know, like I would think it would be very neat to do it.
Yeah. How long ago was this, you said?
This was a couple of years ago. Some friends of mine actually recently did it again. It was the same two guys and then another guy. And they stepped out of the cab a little too early when it was still the daylight, and they got called in and had to bail off the train, and I ended up having to drive all the way down to Centralia, Washington, to get them.
Well, at least you're a good friend, though, that you would go down and get them. It's cool that you tried it. Like, is it, do you know people that go, like, all different parts of the country? Because I didn't know you get air conditioning and shit rolling in a thing like that.
Yeah, I know a few people who do it quite a lot. They've got, thousands and thousands of miles under the belt. They ride everything. They'll ride the DPU. They ride the intermodal cars that have a little mini well in them that you can hide in. Back in my college days, I rode a little bit more in the South, and I rode like General Manifest trains, which are like the box cars and the grain cars. Those are good rides.
Yeah. How many other are there more than your crew on those trains? Like, do you meet other people that are doing the same thing often?
I know. I've only run into one other like random person in a yard looking to get on a train once. That was in like Virginia many years ago. He was trying to go to New York, and I was trying to go to North Carolina.
Okay.
But I know a lot of my friends who ride freight trains have just randomly run into people that way. If not on the same train, then like the same, like, because yards will have like one or two catch out spots, they're a good spot to get on a train.
Okay.
And you'll run into people there. Or like a town will have only one good yard and one good catch out spot, and you'll run into like everybody there who's passing through, good and bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different kinds of people that ride freight trains.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't imagine like what kind of people you run into on the freight trains. You probably got to be pretty careful with who you trust.
Yeah, like generally the etiquette is like you don't just get onto the same car as someone you don't know that's considered like really aggressive, because like then you're stuck on that car as it's rolling down the railroad at 60 miles an hour with this random person you've never met before. That's really that can be really dangerous.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So like you would definitely have to ask permission to get on a car that somebody else is already on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Custom, for sure. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it would be a pretty crazy experience to, anybody that's been caught?
Yeah, but actually that reminds me, like my buddy, the guy who rides thousands of miles, was actually in a shitty situation recently where like he was with this couple and there started to be like a domestic violence situation, but he's in a car that's going 70 miles an hour across Montana, and it's like, if I get in a fight with this dude, I might have to throw him out of this car, and then he might die out there.
Yeah.
From, getting thrown out of a train car, or he might throw me out of this car. It's just a bad situation, and then you have to wait until you're not in a moving piece of metal that's not made for human travel to like handle something like that.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. It seems wild. It seems like a really fun way to get around the country,
Yeah, see some stuff.
Yeah, you get to see some shit that other people don't see.
Free way to get around. It's definitely a free way to get around the country. Like that's the exciting parts are the exciting parts, but like a lot of the time is spent waiting for trains that never show up, getting on the wrong train and ended up in the wrong place.
That's probably wild.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Getting unexpectedly.
I mean, it's like the bus. The bus is very cheap transportation, but you're at the whim of the bus schedule and when they show up and whether or not they have a problem that day.
Yeah, and if the bus breaks down on a bridge, you're stuck on the bus.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's something. Thanks for calling in with that. That
incredible.
Is really cool. That was really interesting.
No worries.
Have a good night. That was great. That's wild,
You
Brett.
too. Y'all take it easy.
You know.
The guy went in there. It smells like weed. I mean, you just smoked weed in there. It smells like weed in there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he knew somebody was probably in there. I wonder how much they care.
I can't. I think that maybe it has to be one of those things like, if you're not going to make me catch you, then I can be ignorant. Like, yeah. I can't walk into the DPU and see you smoking weed in there and not tell on you.
Yeah.
But if you are quick enough to grab your shit and hide, I can just feign ignorance.
Yes. And, you are listening to them talk on the radio. Yes. You know what I mean? So that also helps.
But I think also you could say something on the radio, drive your car up to the front and say, someone's sleeping in that DPU. Someone's got fucking a camp going in that DPU back there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But
that would give me the anxiety, would be, what were they not saying on the radio right now?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it would definitely be an anxious way to travel the country.
I think it would be, I would love to do it. It would be fun. I'm sure getting arrested for it is a pain in the ass, but I do love running away from authority figures, especially like train authority figures, because they're not that invested. They just want to shoo you away from the train, and if you keep running in the other direction, I doubt they're going to come after you,
Yeah, for sure. It's incredible. It's really an interesting that is a real interesting way to get around. I'm looking at I Googled it, and there's a lot of hitchhiking stories and a lot of train hopping stories, and I'm like, it's crazy that people do this,
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hello? Yeah. What's up?
Hey. Okay, cool. Awesome. Nothing much. I have a story, and then I wanted to ask for some advice from you guys. So last week, I think it was last week, you guys were talking about the worst companies to work for.
Yeah?
Yo. That's us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we did that.
So you mentioned Fresh Market, and I worked at Fresh Market for a year.
Right on.
It definitely, it's retail, so it sucks. You
worked at the number 3 worst company to work for in 2019.
I should put it on my portfolio.
Yeah. Like I can fucking, if you go to an interview, and I've been watching a lot of interview videos just for the show, just to see if I can find some good stuff for us to listen to on the show. And what they always say is like, don't badmouth your previous employer. But if I was you, when I had an interview, I'd be like, yes, I worked at Fresh Market for a year, and that's the 3rd worst company in the world to work for in 2019. So I think I can pretty much handle anything.
Yeah, it was, I was honestly surprised that it was on the list, but I think it's just because the store I worked at had like at least for managers, had like nice management. Like the store manager, I think he kind of knew that working in retail sucks. So like every night he would like have the dudes in the meat department make a shit ton of food for everybody. So
that's smart.
It was okay, but like it was in a really, like, Fresh Markets are always kind of in like bougie parts of town.
Yes.
So it's just like, like tons of rich people.
The food isn't even
so weird,
special. It's funny because I don't think they really sell anything there that you can't get at like Whole Foods, but it's also more expensive than Whole Foods.
There was, like when I used to do mystery shopping for Whole Foods, and I remember that their cauliflower was always $1.50 more than anywhere else, and I just refused to fucking pay it. It was the same branding and everything, and I just couldn't believe that everyone just was like, cauliflower's $4.50. It's like, it's not, and everywhere else it's not that much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was so bizarre. I worked in produce, and like all the produce we had besides like a few items that you might not be able to find at Kroger, was all like the same brand of like strawberries or whatever. Yes. And you'd have these like rich old women come in that were convinced that somehow our strawberries or whatever was better than other places. And it's like, no, it's the exact same, guys. You like spending so much more money. But I guess that's what happens when you're rich.
Yeah, they have
no concept of the money you're spending.
They even have the same ass Driscoll strawberries as any other place. They'll put them out in the fucking container that says Driscoll on it. You're like, motherfucker, these are what they got at Kroger. But
I know Driscoll, yeah.
But it's tight. It's actually a bad place, and you should try to avoid buying that stuff as much as possible.
What?
But Driscoll is just really abusive to undocumented workers who
I didn't know
pick the
that.
strawberries. Yes. But I mean,
Oh, damn.
that's all they sell at a lot of places. But when you go into a place like Fresh Market and you see that the packages say Driscoll on them, you should be like, oh, nothing in here's better than the other store. I mean, the only place that the produce is going to be better is a farmer's market, and even that's kind of a crapshoot. You know, they can also go out and buy Driscoll strawberries in bulk.
Dallas Farmers Market. There was a lot of produce distribution places, and you would get closeout bananas. So they would be Dole and Chiquita bananas. It was just that they had a whole pallet full of them that were going to go bad today, and someone bought them all. They weren't like, they weren't bananas from someone's fucking farm.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a bad place. Like it for you. I mean, obviously you didn't have a lot of turnover in management or anything.
Yeah, I think my experience probably isn't indicative of like a lot of other people's. Just because like I'm from Cincinnati. I don't know if the other one closed, but there were at one time 2 stores in Cincinnati, and the one I worked at was in Kenwood, which is like, rich, bougie part of town. And the other one was kind of in I think it was like Oakley, that part of Cincinnati, which is, has a mixture of like middle to high income families. And the Oakley store sucked to work at. It was really small. Really
never mind.
The managers.
I'm sorry. I got a little weird. I got a little weird there for a second when you said the Oakley store, and I was like, "You worked for the Oakley store? You had a discount?"
No, my bad. It's just part of Cincinnati.
No, I know. I just I want to wear Oakleys. I want to become an Oakley's guy.
Ooh.
Brett just gave me a look like, "Oh, you're looking for Oakleys, huh?" Yeah. So the other store was worse?
Yeah, the other store sucked. Well, I think you guys will think this is funny. So, like, me and a lot of the other employees I worked with, like, especially the guys in my department, like, we knew how much, like, food was thrown out each night. Just, like, so much, like, fucking food every single night, and how high the markup we were charging was. So, like, there in produce, there'd be nights if it was, like, me and one of the other 3 guys, we would just, like, take a shit ton of produce or salad or whatever and just make ourselves food, because we knew, like, at the end of, whenever they're calculating shit, what's gets thrown out, they're not, like, wasting. There's no money that the company's essentially not getting. So we for the year I was there, I tried to make the best of it by just eating as much as I could there for free.
Yeah.
Their employee discount did suck though. Like, because if everything's so expensive, even if you're getting 20% off, it's like it was useless.
You're still paying more than Aldi. You're paying more than Aldi on everything.
Yeah, precisely. There was one dude that worked in the meat department. So, like, how, like, retail stores that, like, I don't know how often this happens because this was, like, the only retail place I had worked in. The end of every year, you have to, like, count everything in the store, or maybe it's, like, every so many months.
Yeah, inventory.
Like, everybody stays overnight and does that. There were a few employees that were allowed to be in the store without, like, a manager. And the decorations in Fresh Market are really lame. Along the walls of the store near the ceiling, like above, like, the cold cases and stuff, are all, like, rocking chairs, and it's supposed to look like grandma's home.
Yeah, I remember that.
Comfort.
Yeah, it's precisely. On the produce side, there was this giant, like, stand-up base, And I come into work one day, and one of the guys I worked with was like, "Where did the bass go?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And we look up, and it's not there. You know, I'm not like looking up near the ceiling normally, so just never noticed. And you know, like, why would they have taken that? And it turned out
Bases are worth a lot of money.
One of the dudes, one of the dudes in the meat department. I don't know if he ever really got caught for it. The rumor was that when he was doing inventory overnight and there were no managers in there, him and one of the other guys took it down and just loaded it into the guy's van. So,
yeah, I mean,
so, like, I was like, the most epic heist ever. You stole the stand-up bass.
Right, and say if it's a real stand-up bass, I mean, it could be worth several $1,000s. Like, that is a really good item to pick up.
Right, and you can also, like, you like, nobody probably even noticed it was gone.
It takes a while to figure it out. Then you don't know when it happened.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, it could have happened a year ago or 2 days ago, or you can't really even depend on it being somebody that still works at the store, you know? I never thought about, like, stealing the tchotchkes on the wall at a, like, you go to Applebee's and steal the fucking sled off the side of the wall.
Yeah, that's worth $100 on eBay.
That's a nice sled there. I'm going to go ahead and take that. Oh, that's
I hope
very
that guy
funny.
made some money, put it up on Craigslist or something.
I mean, just take it to a pawn shop
sure
and
that
even get $500 for it. You could probably get $500 for it at a pawn shop, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah. Hopefully he did that.
Yeah.
They had a really, I don't know how many grocery stores have this policy, but at Fresh Market you had to be clean shaven or you could have a mustache.
Yeah.
I never really understood that. So, like, most of the dudes there did have mustaches.
Weird.
It just became like an ongoing joke. But yeah, it's like really, like, going into a grocery store where like all the dudes have mustaches is, I don't know, it feels like a David Lynch movie or something.
Yeah, it does. It feels like they're all cops or undercover police or something. Like, it feels intimidating.
You have, I mean, I think, like, at a lot of food places I've worked at, they don't want you having a beard at all.
Yeah,
like,
no
not
beards.
any kind of the bottoms. I can see the mustache because it's probably not going to, I mean, in their mind, it's not going to get into food. I don't even think beard hair, I mean, beard hair does fall out, but it's not as much as long hair, to tell you the truth, is the thing you got to worry about. I mean, my wife has long hair, and I have her hair all over me all the time. Like she's marking her territory, which is smart because I'm a hot commodity.
Makes sense.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, that was, real quick, can I ask you guys a piece of advice?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So I recently started a podcast with a buddy. It's pretty overtly political. I work in broadcast, and about a month ago, my station manager, station director, because the election's coming up, he's like, hey, guys, don't post anything political on your social media, even if it's like your personal page. We don't want somebody seeing it and knowing that you work at the station, and then coming back to us and saying we're biased, which, you know, is weird because it's like local news. It's hard for local news to take a biased approach. I don't have anywhere online where I work. Like, I deactivated my LinkedIn page. I want to get back on Facebook because I have a bunch of college friends that I think if I like started posting like, hey, check out my show, it might get some people in because they were like, all the people I went to college with were pretty cool. But I'm also afraid that, like, maybe I'm just paranoid. I don't know what it is. That somebody would listen to it that knows that I work at the station and then rat me out. Do you think that's something I should be worried about? Should I just say fuck it?
Me and Brett, when me and Brett first started podcasting, we had two partners that were sort of worried about the same stuff. And I'm not going to speak for Brett now, but my philosophy was always like, it is very hard to get somebody to listen to your podcast. Now compound that with like human resources at your work to listen to your podcast, or like coworkers to listen to your podcast. And it's probably if you don't have where you work anywhere online, Like if you don't have a LinkedIn, if you don't have where you're employed at on Facebook or on Twitter or anything like that, like, I mean, you know, obviously there's a little bit of risk, but I tend to think that, like, unless once there gets to be a point where people in your life are going to find out you have a podcast, and that's at the point where it's big enough that it doesn't matter that people in your life know that you have a podcast. I think, like, I think there are a lot. If you're doing one, I think if you're doing a podcast, you are pretty safe when you're starting out, and for most of the time. I cannot imagine somebody listening to it and getting mad and then mad enough to call the people that you work with. Like, there's a lot of steps that have to happen to get there, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel that, I think I'm just naturally like a paranoid person. So, awesome. Yeah, thanks for accepting the call. Can I plug my show real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's called MK Ultra Orphans. It's a leftist podcast. We try to talk about conspiracies and weird shit like that, but through like a leftist lens. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all that stuff, on Podbean.
Yeah.
And have a good night, guys.
Also, make sure that you don't like plug it at work. or like make a t-shirt. Like I think you're really pretty safe. So I think you're pretty safe in that regard.
I would say, you know, like what Brian hinted at is really the thing about podcasting is nobody that knows you wants to listen to your podcast, and it's hard to swallow that. And I think there is a natural, you can definitely catastrophize in your mind a way where this will fuck up your life. But for the most part, people won't go out of their way to listen to your show. Even if they're your worst enemy or they wanted to take you down, they're not going to listen to your podcast.
Yeah, they would start to listen to you talk for an hour and they probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah. It's really negligible. True. And then you got to you just got to figure out, you know, if you don't want to stop podcasting because the job that limits what you do says you can't, you know, it's like you have to kind of make the decision on whether or not you're going to put it on the line.
True. Cool. Well, thanks for the advice. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Brett, I found
you too.
I found the Oakleys that I want.
Which ones?
Silas. SYLAS.
S what?
SYLAS with clear. I want a clear frame.
Clear?
Like a clear frame, and I want blue lenses.
Oh, I see those. Yeah, those are sick.
Yeah, the clear flame blue lens.
I like
clear
those.
frame blue lens Silas. SYLAS. That's what I want. Those would be that if I could get those Oakleys, I would wear those Oakleys.
Those are sick.
You know what I could do? I could actually get them if I wanted with the health savings card.
Yeah, that's true. You can get credit for them. You know what I like my Oakleys, like as an alternative to the Ray-Ban. I always dig the Oakley frog skins.
Frog skins.
Look up frog skins.
I'm looking them up. Me and you just need Oakleys.
That's
We're
like
Oakleys
a classic
guys.
California Games type style.
But those are cool.
Colors.
We should definitely have Oakleys, dude. We're Oakley guys. We're a couple of guys that should be in Oakleys. No other brand, you know.
Yeah,
you gotta have that O on the side to like let people know who you are. You know, hey, if I wasn't podcasting, I'd still be able to like spread mulch in your yard and stuff like that. You know?
These mirrored lenses hide all my feelings.
I did want Oakleys growing up. Holy fucking shit, did I want them. Oh my God. And it was like when I found out how much they cost, I was so devastated because I was like, there's no way my parents will ever buy these for me.
Yeah. I've been the other way. I did have the Oakley frog skins. I had them. They were like $100 and I treated them like a treasure. And a fucking girlfriend took them.
Oh, no. That's what would happen with mine, by the way. My wife would end up taking them. She took my last good sunglasses that I got with the health savings card.
I've got Kazals now, which are something I've wanted forever. But I like expensive glasses because I feel like I take better care of them.
I
don't buy. I never get them though. Like I've only ever had like 2 pair of Oakleys in my life.
Yeah, I've only had 1 pair of good ones, and like I said, it was because I went to the optometrist for an eye checkup, and they're like, "Well, you don't need anything, but you can get sunglasses."
Get a credit.
And I was like, "Shit, I'll get some sunglasses." You know what I mean? And I got some like $180 sunglasses, and then my wife took them and started wearing them, and
yeah.
I don't wear sunglasses though. I wear a hat. It's one of those things where like guys that wear hats shouldn't wear sunglasses.
Yeah, you got to have one.
It's one or the other,
head,
you know? Unless you put the sunglasses like on top of the bill, that's a fucking look. That's a type of guy look.
Yeah.
That
says you're going to do some extreme sports, maybe play some beach volleyball.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to take my hat off.
Yeah.
I might have to take the old hat off. My brother drove by me the other day. I was wearing this hat and one of my cool t-shirts, and he was like, "Brian, your clothes are really working for you." He texted me after he saw me. I was like, "Hey, man, I really appreciate that because I like it when people tell me I'm well put together."
Yeah, it's a great compliment.
Yeah, Brett told me he liked my pants the other day, and then just so happens I wore them today, and now I'm embarrassed because I would think in your mind you'd be like, "Oh, I told him I like his pants. Now he's going to wear them over here every time."
No, I know.
No, but I'm a disastrous thinker, Brett.
You are.
If there's one thing I am, it's a disastrous thinker.
I have my Brian diary that I keep upstairs. It's just like, what a weird fucking guy.
Well, they're
He
green.
thought just because I liked his pants, he could wear them every single time. That's going to earn him some extra credit.
I think the issue is that they're green.
So?
Right? And they fit in a way that my other pants never fit.
Okay.
So it was just sort of like, when I was in school, like I was very conscious about like, this is my favorite shirt. I can only wear it once a week. You cannot wear this.
Sure.
You can't even pull a Monday, Friday. You shouldn't do a Friday, Monday.
Yes.
And it was just like the most devastating thing in the world. One day when I was in the 5th grade, I was on my way to school wearing my cool Motley Crue t-shirt that said "Kickstart My Heart" on the back. And this girl was like, "You wear that shirt every day." And then everybody started laughing. And I was like, all right, I guess I have to put more thought into separation of when I wear my shirts. And I still feel that way now. Although
I don't, a
lot cooler about it now. Like I've cooled out. I'll wear the same shirt twice in a week or something now. But when I was in school, I was very conscious of it. And when I was in college, keep in mind, I was 32 to 36 years old when I was in college. I would make sure that like I knew what I wore to one class so that if I went to that, I wouldn't wear the same clothes just to the same class because I didn't want people to be like, "The old guy comes in here, he's always wearing the same clothes."
Yeah, I get it.
Man, you guys notice the old guys always wear the same clothes?
I'm actually getting rid of one of my oldest pair of sweatpants.
Oh, no.
There's no reason to get rid of them. I mean, they look awful, but they do cover up like all the stuff that's illegal to have out there in the public. But I'm trying to just utilize all my other like special sweatpants and not have special sweatpants,
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you got to do it, man.
All right. Thanks for calling
funny.
Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
Howdy.
Oh, hey.
Made it on the phone.
Hey,
what's up? My name's Jay. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm calling in behalf of my DSA chapter of Southwest Louisiana. We had a comrade from, I call it Lower Alabama, but I suppose they call it the Panhandle of Florida, that had to deal with Hurricane Sally. We half our chapter is, I guess, like houseless, roofless, due to Hurricane Laura.
Oh, wow.
And, y'all invited us into the call-in show. Appreciate that. I thought y'all were on Eastern time, not Central time. It's
we are on
bad
Eastern
on my
time.
part. Oh, are you? Okay, well, I just fucked the times up. My bad. I missed the early call. It happens. I met y'all down at the WrestleMania festivities in New Orleans. Brett got me drunk as piss.
That sounds like
I'm gonna
Brett.
lie.
That sounds like Brett. Brett
Yeah.
does that. He's a bad
I think I
influence.
smoked y'all out. Yeet.
Yeah.
I want to be the bad influence. But yeah, I love y'all and I love the community. We're going through a lot down here. I'm currently out on a job. I also work as a commercial diver. I'm diving in the Mississippi River right now with Hurricane Beta, which is the new Greek alphabet hurricane that we have. Never even heard of that fucking happening in my life. And I'm from like Florida, and I've been down here for like 15 years in Louisiana. Hurricanes are kind of a thing. Shit's worse. I'm old. I'm not old. I'm y'all's age. We're young bucks rolling around in the late 30s or so. So it's not like I'm a younger person saying, this is something new. Like, this is something new. I've been under the water since like the 80s, looking at like reefs and stuff, and doing like weird diving things because this is kind of what I do. And shit's a lot different now. Climate change is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just kind of going on a tangent. Sorry, been on hold. I'm an old guy. I'm a dad and an anarchist. I got a bedtime. You don't mess with meetings and forums and bedtimes for old cranky anarchists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're going through a lot down here. Mostly I just kind of want to reach out to all the callers, all the solidarity with everybody that called in, because I got the chance to hear it all live. It's fun for me. Usually wait till like Monday or Tuesday to hit the show up. Yeah, I just blanked out. We're still going through it. We're 3 weeks deep in, and we got this storm that's coming along Texas and then going. So it's got a really weird track, and more than likely all the roofs in Lake Charles that we tarped over are all that's you could get rained out, and the work was, it's good work. It's good work regardless of what happens. Things happened already, and what we did was just really solidarity in the community, and helped out a lot with like what they might have had in the house or saved part of the house. There was a bridge in Lake Charles that had one of the casino boats break loose and go underneath the bridge. Somehow the bridge was still standing. Unfortunately, it's my only way into Texas. I go there often. The bridge is crazy. They got the bridge out. We're not in the press anymore. So I'm kind of calling to just spread the word to the street fighters out there. We have a GoFundMe. I can send you all a link to that if you want to share it. We've shared it. We made a lot of money. We're a really small DSA chapter that made, for what we are, is a shit ton of money. And we handed out $2,000 to a hotel that was basically full of climate refugees from Lake Charles, because anybody that gets hit by these hurricanes now is directly climate change. And if you have to move from the city that you live in because a hurricane hit it, you're a climate refugee now. And that's the way that the press and the media needs to start like speaking about this.
Yeah.
But they're not. And you all talked about this earlier. I heard my comrade, I think it was Nathan, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't hear the name, but we've been talking through the secret Street Fighter Facebook chat and stuff like that. Get up on that, y'all, if you don't know about it. It's fun. Thanks for that community, y'all. I love you guys so much, and you really get me through some tough shit. That's it. We had some Black Lives Matter protests start like right before the hurricane, just to get really wild with it. And her whole idea of starting the DSA chapter was just to link up leftists in the community. We span like really wide, like it's southwest of a state, which could be pretty big. Unless you're in like Rhode Island,
Yeah.
It'd be could be a lot of people, or it could just be a lot of people spread out with like 10 lefties of whatever, but we can come together and have a meeting. And we're deep in Trump country, so just having 3 people that agree with you to get coffee with is like really nice. So it's like you don't need to start like a leftist group, but make some friends and try to make like a plan, because I know y'all are in a pretty good spot there in Ohio, but it could turn into hurricane country here in like not hurricane country, tornado alley. It could be like tornado alley in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Because if you look into it, that shit shifted in the past 5 years, which is really weird. And I was wrong. I don't think y'all ever be having to worry about hurricanes, but Iowa just had a fucking land hurricane. Any listeners in Iowa, solidarity with what y'all are going through right now. I keep my ear to the ground on all these like storms and stuff because of where we're at. We work with another group called Mutual Aid Disaster Relief. If you go on the internet, it's like mutualaiddisasterrelief.org. Really great group. Even if you're not associated with an organization, you just individually want to like reach out to them and you're in an area that's under threat of climate change due to what these capitalist vampires are doing to us, please reach out to them. We need volunteers still in Lake Charles for sure, and we need volunteers in the Gulfport Panhandle Florida area to help out for sure. And funding is it's not in the press. We did make money, and the money that we made is gonna push us to like the next week or two, and really these things take like months to like really recover from.
Yeah.
A lot of us have been through like Hurricane Katrina, and Mutual Aid Disaster Relief formed out of what happened in Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans with the Common Ground movement. I'm not really sure if you all are familiar with Common Ground or not, but it was a really radical action that happened in New Orleans post Hurricane Katrina, where a couple of like Black Panther elders came together and built like a community and a school and a healthcare center, all in the basically just like deserted areas of New Orleans that the government just left it, didn't do anything with it, you know. So the people that lived there kind of came together and built a community out of it that was attacked by right-leaning militias and then the FBI.
Yeah, that's a lot of times that's the case. That's what we're up against. But thanks for calling in.
For sure, man.
We appreciate it. I do remember you, from New Orleans when we performed. Once again, what's the organization? Where should people send their time and attention and money?
Specifically, pay attention to mutualaiddisasterrelief.org on the internet, and then DSA's SWLA, Southwest Louisiana. We have like Twitter and Facebook. We're constantly posting updates on like kind of what's going on down here, and we have a GoFundMe. If you just go GoFundMe DSA SWLA, and if you got $1 or whatever to throw at it, we appreciate the coffee money. We're gonna put it to good use. And I love y'all. I love this community. Solidarity. I'm going to get off the phone so someone else can get on there.
Yeah.
I just rolled it off. I would love to talk. I've talked to y'all before. I love you guys so much.
We love you
You
too.
guys just keep on rocking. And to listeners, solidarity to everybody.
Right. Have a good night.
Peace.
Yeah,
you too, man.
That's really like, I think, I'm not dismissing like the circumstances that we're in, but fretting over politics stuff, I don't think that my mental energy changes anything. I don't think if I think about how horrible it is that Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died, if I think about that, it doesn't do anything to think about it.
No.
And I think that in the coming future, we're all waiting for that moment when they're like, oh, America's not here anymore, and now you're on your own. But it's not going to be like that. America's going to try to hang on to authority forever. But
even
like,
well past the point where they don't have power.
exactly.
You know? Like even if it gets like delegitimized and shit like that, it's still gonna hang on to power.
If it can't get enough soldiers to keep people in line and it has to give up parts of the city, even looking at like those right-wing militias in the wildfires that were running checkpoints and shit on the West Coast, like right now during this relative period of normalcy, you know, I know a lot of people are not experiencing that, but like right now is the time to get acquainted with people that are like-minded, because you're going to want to know in 18 months, you're going to want to know the like-minded people in your neighborhood that are willing to give you critical support and are willing to do the work. We need to know people right now that are engaged and ready. This is the time to step forward and say, like, what you stand for and put your money where your mouth is, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It does seem like we're in a fucking odd time, and we don't know what's coming, and knowing people in your city is helpful.
And it's like, you know, what's the point of doing food not bombs? It's just handing bread to poor people. Like, those poor people are going to be poor forever if we don't change everything. It makes sense. But when a climate disaster comes to your county, those people are the ones that get activated, that are able to redistribute food, that are going to be on the front lines, that are trained with dealing with people in crisis, you know.
Yeah.
You need to be these kind of relationships and these networks need to be built now. You can't wait for disaster to strike to be like, oh well, you know, Trump said he's not going to do the election, or Trump said he's not going to step down. I guess we should start doing something about it. We need stuff in place right now. I mean, we're already behind on it, you know. Like we need things in place today in our own organizations and networks of people outside of, you know, the normal jurisdiction.
I mean, we don't even fucking know what's going to happen in November, the first week of November. Like, we don't know what things are going to, I mean, things could really change on that. Not just because Trump got voted out or something, but some wild shit. There are wild possibilities, especially, you know, with the Supreme Court is going to be in the situation that's going to be in and stuff like that. It's like, who fucking knows what's going to happen, but we'll see, you know?
All right. Last call.
All right. Last call.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
All right. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Perfect. Long time listener, first time caller. I just wanted to I'm getting a little foggy on the timeline, but I want to say it was maybe a month or maybe 2 months ago. You guys were talking about Uline,
that's been running for a few years.
Awful.
Uline. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're terrible. But so I think what from specifically thinking of was some people had called in and said that they had worked in shipping, and you know that's what I do. So I see Uline fucking everywhere, and they're just awful. They seem to make everything, but that people had called in and said that they had found like cheaper alternatives to Uline, and that they had been able to successfully get those swapped out in their places of work, and sort of to put out a call to like, you know, if anybody has a lead on that, just at me on Twitter.
What are you looking for a replacement for?
Uline, anything Uline.
Yeah, what we would do is we would, basically it's like, what kind of, I know that they use a lot of stuff, but what kind of stuff would you have to be able to get cheaper in order to get the company to drop Uline?
It would be, yeah.
And
be
then
nice to
people, what?
Sorry.
Brett, you were the one that did it, actually. I don't even know why I'm the one talking.
No. I mean, we would just have people that worked in an industry that like, hey, where do you get your pallets from? We use Uline, and then other people that have to buy pallets would find another place for them or recommend another place.
Oh, nice.
I wish there was some sort of suggestion engine where you could get like the best alternative to a Uline product.
But we've had people, I mean, I'm sure people will contact our if you watch the Twitter feed and if you're on Facebook, the Facebook group, because we have success. There's been a few people that were successfully able to help find alternatives to Uline over the years that we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Just anything. Like I specifically work in trucking, so all that good stuff that you use for like warehouses and load bars and load straps and pallets and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah. I mean, I think Amazon isn't much better. I think is that who we found it through? Was Amazon?
eBay has a lot of
eBay
has a lot of really cheap stuff, but it's not like a one-stop shop company.
Yeah, that's kind of the hard thing to do, is like you have to try to make it as easy as you can on the person buying stuff. And Uline's cheap because they're ruthless.
They'll sell you the fucking coffee to feed the employees.
That's true. They'll put the coffee next to the toilet paper and bring it in. Yeah, it is a tough one. Uline is a tough one. It's kind of like Amazon, that people talk about, where it's like, taking down Uline, very difficult because consumers don't really buy from Uline. It's not us that are buying stuff from Uline, it's our employers. And so it becomes this weird game where like I'm trying to figure out how to save my employer money and also get them to stop ordering from this evil right-wing fucking corporation,
Yeah, no, and Coke is just as bad because they got Georgia Pacific. So you walk into any bathroom in the world, you see Georgia Pacific towels, and it's bad. But and then they get Molex those little wiring harnesses that go into computers. So it's like you can't buy a computer without giving them money. So it sucks.
Yeah, it's really hard because you have to live in the world. That's the shittiest thing about trying to do the right thing. Like every time somebody's like, you just spend your money the ethical way, and you're like, well, you still have to like live in the fucking world, and you gotta have things. There are things you need to have, and toilets and stuff like that are just necessary. There isn't like a ethical company making shitters,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for calling in. If we get any suggestions, I would just message the show account.
Yeah.
And then if we get any suggestions, we can get them to you.
Yeah, let me know. Yeah, just let me know who you are, and then I'll field any suggestions. We're looking for like a comprehensive supplier for shipping and logistics products.
Yes.
Basically.
That is not Uline.
Exactly.
That is roughly this. That is cheaper. Hopefully, but even if it's not cheaper, like maybe, if you have a sympathetic person working for the company, you might be able to talk them into moving to another thing just by being like, hey, have you ever read Liz Uline's, which we haven't done in a while?
Yeah.
We got to read her column
popping off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she's
I bet she's a fan of this COVID.
I'll bet she's off the hook on the COVID. She's probably having the time of her life right now yelling.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
No, I gotta throw in one more detail. But the thing that recently set me off is she apparently traveled to Toronto and didn't have to quarantine for 4 days because she's a billionaire.
Yeah, I saw that.
Her previous remarks on it were, I think the restrictions are going too far because it affects certain ages and it affects certain places. And I'm like, I just immediately tweeted, the side-by-side of here's your 600% COVID risk for being 70 plus years old, 600% greater chance of getting hospitalized or dying. But then the article that I found that mentioned, that she and her husband are both in their 70s, also started off with a description of how they're shaping the town that they're located in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me started. Wisconsin is a right-wing hellscape.
It's the most
But,
beautiful state in the Midwest,
that they-
though. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, yes, that too.
So beautiful.
But that they had threatened the town. It's like Manitowish waters, I want to say. But they had threatened the town to not make a $300,000 donation if they moved a ramp that was near a pavilion they owned.
Yeah, they're
they were holding.
Yeah, they're evil. They're the worst. They are. Uline's one of those companies that like you see everywhere, and you're like, if people paid even a little bit of attention, they would hate this. This would be one of those companies that would be almost a no-brainer for anybody to
Absolutely
disconnect from. They're just they're truly evil people shaping politics.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. Like they believe in all the worst things. And they're really, Uline is a tough one because I see their stuff all the time. Hell, it's funny, me and Brett, like, I'm sure Uline's the cheapest we could get our shipping stuff for, but we're like, we can't use that one. We backed ourselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to get you connected. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I started saying have a good night at the end now.
That's great.
All right. Well, that's the show.
That's Street Fight Radio, the call-in version. You can find us on all of your...
We are sorry, but the show has ended.
Twitter machine,
Goodbye.
your apps.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, all of that stuff.
Oh, come on.
We're there.
Come on.
What?
Just one weird one. Just one.
One weird what?
Podcast app. You used to give them every once in a while. You'd be like on Twitter, Google Play, SoundCloud, and then you'd be like, Pod Ninja, and you're like, oh, is anybody using that?
Yeah, Scrobbler.fm.
Still cannot figure out why somebody would use a different podcast app unless they were using Android.
Right.
If you're using your phone, your iPhone can handle it. It does all the stuff.
iPhone podcast does work well.
It works.
We will be back on Wednesday to do another live show. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We love to see from you. Alf DeWella, Congressional Baseball Fan, Ryan Tennant, Nick Thompson, Red Wizard. Y'all add so much to the show, and I love to see your commentary. So please come back and find us on, twitch.tv. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free subscription on Twitch. So get your old ass over to twitch.tv, set up an account, subscribe to Street Fight Radio. We'll get like $3 for it. It's working. We're getting extra money. Plus you get fun emojis over on Twitch. Exclusive emojis you can't find anywhere else. And we've got more coming to the bonus show. Support Street Fight Radio at patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. Peace. Oh, and also Mother Father. Listen to Mother Father. stl.bandcamp.com.